two men.
Hello everyone, I am live over on YouTube. Hello everyone, I am live over on YouTube. Hello everyone, I am live once again on YouTube, and we've got another big news day. Trump is now claiming that there's going to be a peace deal with Iran signed today. The Strait of Hormuz is closed again. We've got a video of an Israeli soldier smashing up a statue of Jesus, and much, much more to cover. So if you want to come see that, link is here if you're seeing this on Instagram. If you're seeing this on TikTok though, just search my name, Chris Kunzler, on YouTube, or you can search Chris K Live. Anyone saw that, enjoyed me recording. Königliche Geschichte steht sie da. Ein paar Daten, die Kuh hatte noch ein paar Fragen, doch kann nichts hören. Schwebt weiter, völlig losgelöst. Hold on, I finally see you. Hello Ross, hello Kai, hello Marcus, hello Jules, hello, Jesus Kai, Zobama Mambutu, interesting one. Early for this constituent. Hello, sir. If you're on Twitch commenting anything, I can't see you right now, but I will see you because I'm just opening Twitch right now. So see you guys over there in 1, 2, 3. There is one viewer. Okay, no, there isn't one viewer because Ray is over on there. Hold on, let me just pull you over and minimize you. I need to pop out the chat. That's the issue here. Up. Hello Jack7702, nice to see you, thanks for joining the stream. I was the one viewer. Well, Ray commented first, so who knows, you're competing for one viewer over there, but I think there's more than one of you, seeing as 2 people have commented. I'm sorry, and I'm telling everyone. I was just watching the latest No Politic Here. The latest No Politic Here is doing really quite well, which I'm glad to see. Thank you guys for all of the support and the love, and thank you for thank you for all of the support and love and people who watch on Patreon. But yeah, okay, mods don't have viewer rights. Yeah. Damn these mods. We have 2,067 followers over on Twitch, and we have about 46,000 over here, which is nice. You can find my Twitch if you'd like to watch over there too. Mashallah, I'm confused. I'm confused as well. I am very confused, seeing as in the time I've done a quick TikTok stream, I've gone from reading that the Iranians won't be attending a peace negotiation to hearing earlier today that I'm hearing earlier today that apparently the Americans are now making a deal. I have no idea. Today sucks. The comedy show I was looking forward to got cancelled, and the first thing I saw on Instagram was a gross IOF woman standing in a Lebanese house. I saw that image too. It's crazy. Hold on. Hi, Sea Dog. Hello, everyone. YouTube seems to be hiding you. Had to search incredibly hard to find you. What can you do? What can you do? Maybe it's something to do with... I mean, Twitch is telling me I have 1 viewer, so every platform is working against me today. Oh, no, I have 16 now. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I'm sure it's okay. Enjoyed the Patreon episode a lot. Hope to see Spooky. Oh, we're going to have Spooky on the actual show. It's just Isaac and I have both been really busy. So busy that I promised you that we were going to start this new series. And now Isaac is telling me we can't start it. Which is unfortunate. But no, he's got a proper YouTubing job. I've got to do this. I stream and, you know, I can like... I've also decided, by the way, on weeks where I have 2 podcasts to record, I'm not going to be double doing the Sunday stream ever because it's too much. Actually, that's not true. Shut up, Marcus. Shut up, Marcus. I watched that game. And I was miserable. Chelsea played pretty fucking well as well, and they just lost. Liam Rosinia. I'm a Rosinia out. I don't care about I don't care about them. They don't care about us. All we care about is Chelsea. That's how I feel today. No, I'm joking. I don't feel like that. I don't care. It was tough, but we move. Also, it seems a lot of people are enjoying the Spooky Scary Socialist podcast Patreon episode. There will be a little clip of it out, and maybe one day we'll release it for free. We just did it this way more because we were worried about like censorship and stuff of it. Oh, I know. Chelsea are crap, mate. Chelsea are crap. They just didn't play that badly. Chelsea should have won, but oh well. Just enough. Khalas. Okay, so some people are now saying that this isn't true, that Trump hasn't said this, but it wouldn't surprise me if he had said this. I mean, it's fucking insane. The news is fucking insane generally. It's impossible to follow. It's impossible to make sense of what Trump is doing, beyond that he's maybe just basically basically thinking that the answer is to just continually just pretend to be the maddest man in the room, which does not seem to be that great a policy. I don't know. You know what? Like trying to follow this when I can go and do a stream, and all of a sudden apparently there's now a deal between Iran and the US. It's not conducive to trying to understand anything. So instead, we're gonna play Fortnite for 10 hours today. Only kidding. I fucking hate Fortnite. We are going to start with a nice video though, which I enjoyed, and I saw people on Twitter enjoying, so I think it maybe is quite funny.
I actually think geese are a bit overrated.
Amazing, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Ooh, I'd probably say like matcha. Don't really get the hype with it.
Love it. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, cool.
On a Chinese nuclear submarine, if your radar vector is showing intermittent narrowband contacts during quiet phase drift, you have to verify that your coolant reactor pump harmonics aren't bleeding into the hull before you classify. But that only applies actually on Chinese nuclear submarines, and specifically the 2006 093 class. If you're talking about any of the Russian classes or the American classes, it just doesn't apply.
Do you work on a nuclear submarine?
Oh, no, I was just talking about like unpopular opinion. I just don't think many people would think that.
It's just like most people would say something like Die Hard's a Christmas film.
Die Hard? What's Die Hard?
I'm so sorry to interrupt. Were you saying on a Type 093, if the 207 is showing intermittent narrowband during drift phase, that you would verify the coolant pump harmonics before classifying?
Yes!
Thank you. That's been driving me absolutely mad.
Right, because the narrowband contacts...
They need to be engaged before rifling.
My God!
I gets it.
Sorry, are you guys talking about Type 093 flow harmonics?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so just so you know, the towed array is only relevant in choppy water. Below that, 75 hertz is your ceiling.
Are you joking? The 50 to 100 range is an isolated mounting issue.
Yeah, and it's not even C-state dependent, that.
Resonance profile absolutely changes with whole flex under wavelet.
Is anyone in here a nuclear engineer and can tell me whether this is true or not?
He is right about the whole flex, actually.
You gotta give him that, yeah.
Okay, get ready with me while I break down why 75 hertz is the only correct ceiling for reactor.
I've got to turn this off because it's got music on.
The deciding variable if isolation mounting is doing that much work.
Isolation mounting is rated for that low! The resonance issue is completely separate!
Guys, we're all agreed on load mounting resonance, alright?
Yeah.
Just...
This guy's funny. This guy in the middle, he's on UK Saturday Night Live, and I think he's quite funny. He's got he's got a really funny video. It's actually a really just top video, one of the best I've ever seen. Here it is.
North London or East London?
I fuck with North London, but it's got to be East, man. Come on.
Yeah, East has got that juice. Yeah. Bagel bake or dusty knuckle?
It's got to be Bible bake, man. Yeah. 2 a.m. in the morning. If you're like a little bit waved, boss man gives you that fat beef bagel, spicy mustard slapped on there, hits different.
Oh, come on. Vicky Park or London Fields?
I don't know really.
Not sure?
Yeah, just like when you asked me, I was just like, what am I doing?
What do you mean?
Like, this is not me. Like, none of this is me. And I just feel like so tired, like all the time. Like, don't you get tired of having to like pretend to be like this?
Like what?
Like, I've just fell into this. Like, I never meant. This is not my real. Why do I speaking like that? That's not my real voice. I'm from Buckinghamshire. My dad's a GP. Do you know what I mean? It's like every time I have to go to one of these like day festivals or pop-ups or like a Dulwich Hamlet game, a small part of me dies. Do you know what I mean? I'm just stuck in this endless stasis of cultural peacocking. I'm like a fucking mannequin for people to just hang stuff on. Look at all this shit I have on me. It's just like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I do. I'm from Bath.
Yeah. Yeah, and earlier, with respect, you said Easter's got that juice. And I was hyping you. I was being like, oh, yeah, like, that's not you, though, is it? That's not you.
I don't even like small plates or Fontaine's DC. I like the Arctic Monkeys and Leon.
Fontaine's DC are far better than Arctic Monkeys.
Leon's great. What, the waffle fries?
Waffle fries.
Are delicious, and it's okay to like that. But I just feel like what really scares me is like this idea that what's cool is going to change again, and that I'm just not going to have the energy to like.
I very much like this video. I don't know. Maybe Ethan Klein's dressing is very popular amongst London youth. And I also had one more enjoyable video. And by the way, someone said happy 420. I totally forgot that it's 420. I normally love this kind of stuff, but recently I no longer engage in that kind of hobby anymore, so I am not enjoying it. I am sat streaming to a bunch of people on the internet instead of sitting in a park in the UK. But yeah, I hope anyone who is partaking in that is enjoying it. I really enjoyed this video as well of Clavicula talking to old people and teaching them how to ascend. And Match is gross, by the way. It's not the kind of thing I like.
But yeah, we could talk about how everyone could looks max, and you know.
Yeah, I need help with that.
Yeah, you know.
They need help with that. I'm not saying I don't. I mean, I could use some, of course.
Yeah.
Some?
If you guys don't want to answer this, totally understandable, but how old is everyone?
Oh, we don't care. I'm the youngest. I'm the baby. I'm 64.
Okay, 64.
I'm 80.
You're 80?
That guy looks good for 80.
89. 89.
81.
81. Okay.
It's more difficult for, I don't know, it just seems more difficult to, and I'm very disciplined, but I crave certain things.
Mm-hmm. Like?
You know, once in a while I crave sugar, which is probably the worst thing you could eat.
Oh, I thought you were, okay.
Yeah.
What else? Porn?
Strippers? Strippers?
Strippers?
No, he's talking
Not
about
really.
sweets.
No.
What does she? Stripper can be sweet.
Do you think it's cope to use escorts to like stop being incel?
You think it's cope to use escorts to stop being incel? Bro, this guy was born in like the Second World War. No, if he's 80, he was what, born? Oh no, you'd be born just at the end of the Second World War. Can you imagine? Is this what his parents or grandparents and colleagues and classmates died for? So this man could live free and ask them if it is cope to use escorts to escape inceldom.
Escort maxing.
Yeah. Did you ever do escort?
No.
I never got it.
I never did.
Yeah, no. It's like, I'm kind of worried too.
Yeah, I have.
Well, before the good Lord, right?
Yeah, well, everything is before the good Lord.
I had not seen this clip. I saw a clip where he's talking about like fucking collagen and telling them to. Oh God. Yeah, unbelievable. Imagine being the. How does that even get set up? Who are these old guys? Fair play to them, for chatting to a real tough guy, Clavicula. Great character. I mean, yes. I don't know. I don't know. Very strange commentary from Clavicula. Mostly just going to be news. Someone just sent me a really strange message on Instagram. Like one where you're like, what does that mean? I won't even read it out because I'm not going to read it out. It's a very strange message on Instagram. Leave this is a grown folk circle. I mean, Clavicula's just a bizarre character. I do think it's not going to last. I think Clavicula will be replaced by someone who is like younger and stranger than he is. I think that's what's to come for Clavicula. I think that's Clavicula's destiny. YouTube. Just search my name. How is that a Zionist PR stunt? What about that was a Zionist PR stunt? What about that was a Zionist? Yeah, maybe I will just keep I don't know. You're not throwing away $82 for subpar chocolate. What on earth are you talking about? $82 for subpar chocolate. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? Who's throwing away $82? I've never spent that much money on a piece of chocolate, nor would I ever. I assume it's not one piece of chocolate, or it's maybe a bar or something, I don't know. Like a normal kid who's misguided. It's sad. I think most streamers are misguided children, like myself. I should be free. Bro, 30 minutes is up. Go to debate King of Israel. Oh shit, yes, W man, I've got to debate the King of Israel. Hi Silent Scythe, good to see you. You're not thinking, what? Also, the elderly still fuck. STD and STIs are pretty common in senior homes. Yes, it's kind of the thing that it's like evident proof that, you know, having sex is far beyond a biological imperative towards spreading your seed. Like, old people literally cannot do that, and yet they always be banging in the nursing homes. What's the date today? Stream prep 420. I'm gonna put it as. Okay, right. As a loser, it's hard to fight with people saying go see an escort when so many men are utterly unprepared to be emotionally honest or respectful of that sad work dynamic. Yes. Teddy Fresh did a collab with a chocolatier. Oh my god. Well, guys, I need donations right now to go and get me my Teddy Fresh chockies. Nothing better than some Teddy Fresh chockies. Oh my god. The chocolates do look pretty cool though, I will say. Artisan 48 piece. I've paid a lot for fancy chocolates once for like vegan fancy chocolates, but those are some. I don't know if those are the H2 ones. They look pretty at least, I will say. But I still would not be spending $80 or however much it is. Is Keir Starmer gone? I don't know. Probably not. Keir Starmer's just going to be in power forever, where they do not make their own chocolate. Zohran X Obama sounds like an anime pairing. Oh my god. The Zohran X Obama thing is actually something that I wanted to talk about and may as well just talk about, as I'm sure that some of you have seen. Now, perhaps I'm not as down as most people on Zohran, but this is certainly very disappointing. So Zohran is with Mr. Drone Strike himself.
On the bus, go round and round, round and round, round and round. Wheels on the bus go round and round, all through the town.
I mean, they're playing with youths. One must forgive the youths, I must say. They're having fun with the youths, and that's okay. But, like, I mean, for me, Zohran recognized this not many years ago was... Zohran not many years ago was tweeting pretty negative things about Obama. And I know people change their mind. I mean, JD Vance has been posting... JD Vance posted, like, anti-Trump slop and is now Trump's best friend. Yeah, that's why I kind of wanted to talk about it, because there's obviously this instantaneous moral reaction of, like, fuck this, I really don't like this, this is bad, and I think this sucks. It's just like, I don't know, I don't know, but like Zohran literally has an old tweet which reads, hold on, I'll show you it. So people kept bringing this up. G. Casey, what's up with working for the bad man, aka Ed Markey? How you gonna do me like that? I don't know who G. Casey 219 is. And then he says, hasn't Obama shown that the lesser evil is pretty damn evil? How to improve if criteria is just better than Republican crackpot? I mean... I like this little fucking Shining meme. That's a good one. This one of just showing this, of saying, fell for it again award, and then DSA. I mean, yeah. Because, like, obviously, he did say, look, Zohran Kwame Mamdani dropped a truth nuke. He dropped a truth nuke when he said Obama, the lesser of two evils, is pretty damn evil. Like, it is pretty damn evil, undeniable. Absolutely morally repugnant and unacceptable. Obama number of drone strikes. I'm sure that Obama conducted the most, yeah. Here's a Council on Foreign Relations. So, less than 1 week ago, the United States conducted a drone strike over central Yemen, killing one Al-Qaeda operative. The strike was the last under Obama that we know of. The 542 drone strikes that Obama authorized killed 3,797 people, including 324 civilians. As he reportedly told senior aides in 2011, turns out I'm really good at killing people. Didn't know that was going to be a strong suit of mine. I mean, I don't know. Like, it's just tough. It's just tough. Because obviously there were multiple war crimes committed under the Obama administration. Just did heinous things. The Kunduz hospital bombing. Just so many things that Obama did. And it just feels pretty disappointment. It just feels pretty disappointing to see these two hanging out together, I've got to say. Like, he could recognize what's wrong with Obama, and there's so much wrong with Obama and what he did. But I think that ultimately the only thing that is kind of like, is... I know you, Jules just said it's going to be, that you don't think Zohran will manage to move them left. Maybe not, but what I will say is it's certainly interesting that Obama is meeting with him, considering how toxic Zohran was seen as by most establishment Democrats just not long ago at all. Fez is the best hat. I don't know about that. What about flat peaks, like the Peaky Blinders? He killed a 14-year-old person in a drone strike in Yemen because they murdered his father 2 weeks before and thought he might avenge his death in the future. Is that actually why they killed that guy? I know that happened. I thought it was much later that happened. I mean, campaigning with Dick Cheney is definitely worse in the sense of Dick Cheney committed more war crimes than Obama did, but it's certainly like, is this really the best that you can do to maintain a relationship with him? I think it's interesting in terms of the fact of, like, it's pretty evident that some establishment Democrats are moving towards him. I mean, Zohran's been somewhat more quiet on Israel since he actually came to power, right? I haven't listened to all of it. He just keeps saying that I'm really focused on... and he always says that I'm really focused on basically, like, you know, much more focused on fixing potholes in New York. It's crazy, though, because, I mean, one of my favourite books, which is behind me... This book by Mamdani's dad, it's fantastic. And I'm pretty confident at the start. It has, yeah, look, at the start of Mamdani's father's dad's book, it says, "You teach us how to engage in difficult times. May you inspire many and blaze a trail." This was written in 2020 by Mamdani's dad. Mamdani's dad's book is entirely like a criticism of Western imperialism. It's actually a really, really, really top tier book. I'd highly recommend it. I've read it once or twice. Probably only once the full way through. Really good, and his dad is a brilliant scholar. It just seems that, like, this is disappointing. And I do appreciate... this is what I mean. Obama is the most liked lib in the States, man. It opens up Zohran to those libs that otherwise think he is a terrorist. I mean, maybe there's something to say about that, but it's also the fact that, like, not so many years ago, Zohran was... Well, so many years ago, I guess it's 12, 13 years ago. Zohran would criticize Obama, and Zohran would say, this is still pretty evil, that he committed all of these war crimes, all of these attacks, and now he's just sort of with him doing a photo op. I mean, it kind of does show you that maybe there is a change, and I do think there is a change coming in the Democratic Party. It's just, I worry that people will be satisfied with something that is not good enough, which is Israel doing this. I mean, Amos Hochstein did this yesterday. Just listen to this. So this is him endorsing Trump's war, and I thought that this was like an interesting point.
In the Senate, 40 Senate Democrats tried to block a U.S. weapons sale to Israel, and that adds to this growing rift that we have seen between your party and Benjamin Netanyahu. Do you think Democrats are going to come to regret this break in the alliance?
So I hope that it's not a break in the alliance. I think what it really demonstrates is for the last several years, Prime Minister Netanyahu has sacrificed Israel's interest in the United States. The most important asset Israel has is not its military or its intelligence. It's the special relationship with the United States that has been bipartisan for so many decades.
I love how he just admits the thing that most Zionists would be so terrified of, that Israel is entirely reliant on bipartisan support. But I love how, once again, it's Netanyahu. Netanyahu is the problem. Netanyahu is the issue. Netanyahu is the one who sacrificed everything. But the truth is most Israelis don't support Netanyahu. They do kind of end up supporting his coalition generally in terms of voting. But I think the other thing is most Israelis actually support the problematic things he's doing. Their contentions with Netanyahu rely on two things, which first of all is the whole, like, you know, building a Jewish religious state, that most people don't want a halakha state, problems with the ultra-Orthodox and the split in the two countries, and pretty significantly as well, what also matters is how the Gaza war was prosecuted in terms of the hostages. I mean, the Gaza genocide, excuse me. Their problem doesn't lie with the actual genocide. Their problem doesn't lie with the forever wars and mass killing people. It lies specifically with Netanyahu. I think that's like the issue. That's where the issue lies. By the way, there was an interesting piece in Jewish Currents which mentioned something I hadn't heard. Which is, first of all, I hadn't heard that the Israelis refer to Turkey as the Ikhwan axis, as in the axis, the brotherhood. Ikhwan? That's how you spell it, yeah. So the Ikhwan means the Muslim Brotherhood. But which is just funny, but there's a really interesting thing. Liberal Zionist hero Yair Golan, who rallied European politicians against Turkey and Qatar, and how Yair Lapid is the one seeking to designate Qatar as an enemy state. Like, I'm sorry, Israel is sacrificing its points over and over and over again. Israel is sacrificing relationships with the rest of the MENA region, and it is not some problem specific to Netanyahu. I don't even get what this odious desire is to cling to them for building a better Middle East. It does seem that way too many American politicians are just straight up Zionists. Like, people think that they're paid for, people think that this, and no doubt that influences them in some ways. However, simultaneously, I think a lot of these people are just morally repugnant, and they are Zionists who believe that doing anything to Israel is anti-Semitic.
He has destroyed that because he has decided to become not just part of the Republican Party, but he's decided to become just an appendage of Donald Trump. And so every Democrat now sees
oh no, Mr. Netanyahu, no.
If you want to be Trump, great. If we're anti-Trump, then by de facto, we are against you. Mm-hmm. I think this has a lot to do with Bibi Netanyahu and his extremist right-wing government, and not to do with Israel. Look, you have half of Israel is voting against Bibi.
Yeah.
So I think this Democrat should be aligning.
Who are they voting for, though? Naphtali Bennett, the guy who's like, I would be harder in the war and I would kill more people. Naphtali Bennett, Gaza war. What does he say? God, I hate the Times of Israel. Yeah, listen to this. So this is Naftali Bennett, the opposition. He also denounced the current government for continuing to fund Hamas through aid sent into Gaza, calling its overall performance dreadful. He criticised the failure to draft the ultra-Orthodox and to enable the IOF to deploy the necessary force. Its failure to enable the IOF to deploy the necessary force to deliver a crushing blow to Hamas. Naftali Bennett is just like more unlimited force. And I think that, like, you know, I think that there's much to criticize, but one could also try and find some hope in the fact that it does seem maybe there is this opening of change. But this is the trick they're going to want to play. This is categorically what they're going to want to do. They are going to want to push this notion that it is Netanyahu, and if you cut off Netanyahu, everything will be fine. I think, though, that the major issue is that this underappreciates how much people hate Israel. They don't hate Netanyahu, they hate Israel because it's a genocidal settler colony.
With Israel, not with Bibi. But I think this is a very big wake-up call this week, that vote.
Significant vote. Amos, thank you for your insight.
It's also just incredible, like, how this guy is just like, yep, I support Midnight Hammer. You know, we've got this bipartisan support for Israel that Netanyahu's threatening and blah, blah, blah. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. They want Naftali Bennett in power to pretend he's a liberal. Hi, Chris. Hello, Vicky Abbey. Hello. Some chatters probably aren't old enough to have remembered the first Obama campaign and how hopeful it felt. We really thought things... Yeah, I mean, obviously I was 8 years old, so I don't really remember how it felt when Obama was going to be elected. I mean, Obama was a massive disappointment. I also know that in terms of Obama knew Edward Said, right? Obama studied under Edward Said at Columbia, and Obama was actually known to be someone who understood the Palestinian cause. And he just disappointed so much, which I think is the major worry about people like Zohran, that it's like, where does this principle lie? Like, why would you want to associate with Obama, you know? I remember reading up on Bennett back in 2021 when he was PM during the bombardment of Gaza, and oh boy, the man is not a milligram less genocidal. No, the thing is what Naftali Bennett is what wants that's different is Naftali Bennett is basically like, I'll draft the ultra-Orthodox and I won't do the halakha law time for Israel and make you a little bit more authoritarian for secular Jewish people who live in Tel Aviv. That's the magical trick.
La boo-boo.
Pretty sure Netanyahu didn't carry out the Nakba. Yeah, well, I'm not so sure about that. Maybe Netanyahu did, and that we should have been bipartisan supporting Netanyahu all the way back then. And as well, something else that I was going to point out about that is just Israelis are just pretty racist because their project is pretty racist. That's the problem. Hi Chris, how are you? Question. What are your thoughts on Christopher Hitchens? Like with ContraPoints, they shaped my atheist teenage years a lot. But looking back, I don't look at them so fondly. I mean, ContraPoints is just an idiot. Like, ContraPoints is just straight up, like, an idiot. I'm sorry, ContraPoints is just stupid. Because, as I said the other day, you can actually critique the pro-Palestine movement pretty meaningfully. It's really interesting how all of these people are incapable of doing it because their bigger qualm is not with, you know, anything beyond people won't uncritically vote for the Democrats and they're quite mean about Israel on the internet. That's the major issue for ContraPoints and stuff. They don't want to deal with it. Christopher Hitchens, I don't know enough about. I know he was pro-Iraq war. But I also believe that Christopher Hitchens thought that wait, hold on. I think Christopher Hitchens said that Hezbollah were yeah, here you go.
Hezbollah
Hold on, here you go.
was the organizer of the resistance to an illegal, criminal Israeli occupation.
Well, don't you think that
of South Lebanon? They had every right. They had under international law every right to resist and repel that occupation.
Don't you think you could use the same argument about Al Qaeda resisting the tyranny in Saudi Arabia?
Quite obviously not. Al Qaeda is not fighting an occupation.
It seems to me
Al Qaeda is fighting to establish.
Christopher Hitchens might be the only person in the world who is pro-invasion of Iraq, but also offers with some sympathy Hezbollah. And yes, sorry, the Spooky Scary Socialist episode is paywalled solely because we were kind of worried about getting in trouble and just having issues from it. I apologize. There'll be a short clip uploaded. It is really good. Spooky Scary Socialist knows his shit. It was really fun. And he's really fun. We're definitely going to have him on.
Actually defend terrorism.
I don't think, by the way, I'm not like a Christopher Hitchens fanboy. Also, Tara, thanks for the $2 earlier. Sorry, I forgot to say. I'm not like a Christopher Hitchens fanboy in any way. I'm just quite interested by this clip particularly.
When it's directed against Israel, but not against the rest of the world?
It is not terroristic for a Lebanese citizen.
It is not terroristic to have suicide bombing?
It is not terroristic for a Lebanese citizen to resist a foreign occupation of his country. He has international laws on his side.
Hezbollah is not about Lebanese citizens resisting anything. Hezbollah is about the destruction of Israel, the use of terroristic tactics to kill innocent civilians. Now, why can't you condemn that?
That's what I mean by the...
Isn't Hezbollah the enemy?
That's what I meant earlier, Andrew, when I said that the word terrorism has become...
Chris, most people are pro-resistance. They are literally paid to say things against it, or they know their pay will be affected if they speak out. Money. I don't think it's just that. I think that there are other quite significant consequences as well. And I see that the emotes just landed over on Twitch. I'm not sure. I think one of them might have been rejected. And this guy died, right? Didn't he die of, like, cancer or something? Rip Christopher Hitchens, you died of cancer. Sorry to hear about this, my friend. But yeah, like, how did he get this, then, fall on so much obvious bullshit? I don't think it's quite that simple. Obviously, militant resistance is a complex topic for people in the UK to deal with and stuff, because... you know, when you're talking about it, it's kind of like, ooh, there's a legal element around it, so people have to be careful how you talk about it. But I do think, like, generally when you hear what, like, Hezbollah was founded as, people are generally like, okay, yeah, supportive. Supportive generally, you know, amongst people who are like, well, they're supportive of it being or they tell the truth of it being a resistance organization against Israel. I, however, on the other hand, am totally against Hezbollah because my government designates it as a terrorist organization. I am totally against it. But I do believe that resistance against foreign occupation is just and moral, but not Hezbollah because they are designated an evil terror organization by the UK government. Okay, right. You guys are enjoying spamming emotes over on Twitch. You like spamming emotes more than the YouTube people do. They weren't even allied. I think a couple of SEPA people went over to Iran from Iran to Lebanon, but I don't think it was actually major. Anyway, right. Let's just quickly finish up this stuff. Yeah, I also wanted to show this Hochstein thing because it's really funny of like the bipartisan stuff.
1 or 2 weeks away from having enough. Secretary Blinken.
Oh my God, what is this?
In July 2024, Secretary Blinken claimed Iran was 1 or 2 weeks away from having enough fissile material breakout capacity to eventually make a weapon if Iran had decided to do so. There were indirect negotiations that the Biden administration did, but it went nowhere. So when President Trump argues that he did when no other president would, is it just simply that the bill was coming due and it fell on his watch?
I do think there's a certain element to that. And that's why I was supportive of President Trump joining in June to take the strikes that we had thought internally in the Biden administration we may have to take if there was a second term. We thought that the spring, summer of 2025 was probably, we may have to be there in the same place.
What an incredible admission that, you know, ContraPoints, literally, and just this is my problem with like I do believe change will come. And I think for years, you know, we've kind of heard over and over again about how Israel's gonna fall and blah 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 blah. But my worry is just around people like this who are still gonna be very powerful in the Democratic Party, who continually push this kind of stuff. I just want to see this was the one. I strongly advocated that we not elect a president who invaded them. This was when people asked, what did you do to help help Cuba? Because she said, sources tell me leftist influencers got out in time. I mean, if your greatest achievement is I advocated for people who planned to blockade Cuba too, I am sorry, even if you want to criticize and say everything was performative, it is certainly better being performative than dedicating your life to policing people who don't vote the same way as you. I mean, you welcomed a woman who destroyed Libya into your house. I don't get as how, like, this person who claims to be a philosopher engaging with the world, that you never have this pang, this interest within you about someone as barbarous as Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton, like, I have never shared a room with someone who is responsible for as much death and destruction as Hillary Clinton is. One would think you would go and have an interaction with said person, but these people don't. These people, like, sorry, when you interacted with them, that you would have some kind of thought of, oh my God, oh my fucking God, this person destroyed a country, and like, Libya is hell as a result of what they did. She posted like 2 tweets at the time too, which makes this even more outrageous. She just posted kind of very little. About what? About Cuba. There's so many things that this could be in reference
and
to.
We did war games. We did some practice runs on what it would look like to look into it, and because that may have had to happen under our watch as well. But he said we obliterated their nuclear program. The question then is not about what he did in June. This war we were in now did not attack.
It's just incredible. It's genuinely incredible that, like, maybe the only thing you could make and you could justify here is by saying, well, that previous round did not lead to a war. But what? You're telling me, like, a prolonged war, and that was an off-ramp for Israel. But you're telling me Israel wouldn't have eventually attacked Iran? Oh, come on. If you're supporting Midnight Hammer, you're supporting this too. You are going to do this too. I am sorry. It is the same thing. I don't think it is good enough and moral to accept, well, they didn't do the bad thing, when the groundwork is laid at the exact same time.
The nuclear facilities again. This was not about the nuclear. So the question now becomes, can you do a deal with the Iranians? And the maximalist positions that both sides have are right now very far apart, despite all the rhetoric that we're almost there, or we are there, but if we're not there, we'll bomb the hell out of them.
Did Robert De Niro actually... He did become a dad, didn't he? Yes, but also, by the way, I assume you're talking about people in nursing homes. You can't become a father if the person that you're trying to procreate with is also in a nursing home. That person, most likely... I mean, there are perhaps some odd cases in which women do not experience menopause. However, on the whole, women have a biological process in which they can no longer have children. So, that's the point in that. Like, it's not the men. Yes, men can continue having children till whenever. It comes with more risks, but it's more risks to the child's health. But with a lady can't be having a child after a certain point. I do think my girlfriend does tell me that there is some ageist stuff pertaining to that, about like telling women that they have a biological clock and that it's going to run down and blah 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 blah. But it's also like yeah. It's locally Chris. It's Chris. I'll consult on what, on ladies' issues. I need a consultant on ladies' issues. Google Julio Iglesias. Who the hell is Julio Iglesias? Not probably Julio. What did Julio Iglesias sing? Why should I Google him? Did he sing Living La Vida Loca? I don't think he did. I don't remember who sung that, but it wasn't him. He has 8 children. He's... I've just read the first thing on his Wikipedia. What is this? He has proclaimed himself Jewish from the waist up. What on earth does that mean? Oh, I know what it means. Why have you told me to search that? Yeah, it's normally increased risks for the mother, right? Ricky Martin sung Living La Vida Loca. What a tune. Inside, outside, Living La Vida Loca. But yeah, my main worry is like, so sorry, to just pull quickly back to the Zohran Obama thing. In some ways I see it, it's like, great, you know, the positions of Mamdani perhaps becoming more accepted and more like him being less toxic, of like actually doing something to improve people's lives and stuff is like, okay, good. But then it's just like, I kind of worry that like I see all of this sentiment that's against Israel, and I worry that these people are going to act as ways to diffuse it by pretending that once Netanyahu's gone, that everything's fine. And I think that like all of this Satan-Yahu stuff maybe is indicative of perhaps this will work, because people genuinely think that Netanyahu is like the devil, and it's like, yeah, he's a bad guy, but he's not really the problem alone. Pizza. Obama. But yeah, anyway, that's kind of that done. There is something going on in British Parliament. We won't watch that much. So this is Lee Anderson. Lee Anderson said that I think he said that families could live on 50p or something.
No one believes him. The public don't believe him. The MPs on this side of the House don't believe him.
Hold on, this needs to... Hold on, crank that shit up.
His own gullible backbenchers don't believe him. So does the Prime Minister agree with me? He's been lying.
Prime Minister, what thing?
By the way, I like the dog that's in their Houses of Parliament. Good dog, good dog.
Sorry, we don't use those words, and I'm sure the members withdrawn it.
Mr. Speaker, I have the greatest respect for you and your office, but I will not withdraw. That man couldn't lie straight in bed.
Order. Mr. Anderson, you'll have to leave.
UK politics is all just fucking theatre, and it's rubbish. It's all rubbish. It's all rubbish slop. Another thing that I really that man couldn't lie straight in bed. That man couldn't lie straight in bed. I like that. I like the way he said that. But I mean, this by the way, this scandal is just insane. I haven't really followed this because it feels like there's more important things going on in the world. Basically, the whole scandal is Keir Starmer appointed Jeffrey Epstein's BFF Peter Mandelson. Like, they were like tight, like they loved each other. They appointed him and they just didn't do security clearance. But Keir Starmer's justifying it and giving his explanation.
I know many members across the House will find these facts to be incredible.
He's also an Arsenal fan, and if you don't know, Arsenal lost like the biggest game of the season.
To that, I can only say they are right. It beggars belief that throughout the whole timeline...
It's also so funny, because I'm looking at the British Parliament and the scandal going on here. So, do you know one of the craziest parts of this scandal? Wes Streeting, the health secretary, a member of Keir Starmer's cabinet, texted Peter Mandelson saying Israel's doing war crimes, and it just got ignored. He showed his text, and he was texting him, a member of Keir Starmer's fucking cabinet said Israel's doing war crimes, and it was just like, what can you do? What can you do? What can you do about that? It's fucking wild.
Of events, officials in the Foreign Office saw fit to withhold this information from the most senior ministers in our system in government.
And then David Lammy just lied about weaponry going to the Israeli military. And then you also had, like, him hanging around in Sudan and being like, Sudan must get the same attention that the Palestine issue does. And it's like, motherfucker, you were hanging around with the fucking UAE. Aye.
That is not how the vast majority of people in this country expect politics, government, or accountability to work. And I do not think it's how most public...
Look, I'll change my opinion on Keir Starmer if he releases a video of him watching Arsenal lose to Manchester City.
...servants think it should work either. Speaker, I know...
It's just incredible. They're just laughing at him. I think he's going to go. I think he's got to go. And I think they need to replace him. And I think they need to replace him with Friedrich Engels or Karl Marx. Yeah, it's just like, it's funny what we take as scandal in the same way that, like, Keir Starmer, when Trump said, I'm going to annihilate a civilization and said, like, Allah and fuck on Easter, that was, like, funny, that was the significant thing that really, really, really mattered, and not, the fact that he was in the process of wiping out a civilization, the fact that pretty much every Western government has backed the wiping out of the civilization. Yes, he is a gooner. Keir Starmer is a gooner, and he's an actual really big Arsenal fan, and he plays football. Sorry, I also said funny during that because I've seen this image. That is a very, very, very good image. I like it a lot. He's got to go. He's got to go, blood. He does have to go. Him and... Keir Starmer, Rosinia, gone. Out. I'm also obsessing over this image now. Yeah, this is a wild-ass image. Who made this one? Who did this, chat? Who did this? Who actually did make this? You have to wonder. Oh, Christ almighty.
Go home. I'm opposed to what you're...
We'll watch one more interaction and then I'm done with this. I can't watch British politics. It's shit. Once a post on my feed with Reddit from like r/rspritz. Does anybody think Keir Starmer is actually decent for various reasons? And I'm so suspicious of them. I see so many. I wouldn't be the first person to manipulate Reddit as basically a means to push narratives about themselves, no, but I mean simultaneously as well. Sorry, I'm live covering Iran news and more. Hop in. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know who likes this guy. I don't know who likes him.
2022.
By the way, this gentleman here, wow, look at his trim. That is an interesting trim.
All over again.
Yeah.
Back then, when he stood on this side of the House, and it was Boris Johnson who was accused of misleading Parliament and scapegoating senior officials, the then leader of the opposition couldn't have been clearer. The public need to know, he said, that not all politicians are the same, that not all politicians put themselves above their country, and that honesty, integrity and accountability matter. So he promised change, Mr. Speaker. He promised to break the cycle and stop the chaos. And he promised a government...
I mean, the Green Party is somewhat anti-Zionist. I would say the constituency of the Green Party is pretty anti-Zionist, and also there are a lot of anti-Zionist MPs. There's quite a senior MP in the Green Party who I've interacted with, who follows me and likes my content. Mothin Ali. Mothin Ali knows who I am, and Mothin Ali likes my content. So there's someone, he's not an MP currently, but Mothin Ali does like my content, and he's the deputy leader of the Green Party. So... Can I see your message? No, what message? Where did you send it to me? Hold on, I can see. Chris, do you like New Balance or Saucony trainers? I have no, I have no strong feelings about Saucony trainers. I don't know what any of that means. What happened to the Starmer thing? What do you mean the Starmer thing?
With, and I quote, more focus on long-term strategy, not the short-term distractions that can animate Westminster. I'm afraid the fact that he even had to make the statement today shows how badly he has failed. How badly he has let down the millions.
Imagine this being your day, just like going into Parliament every day and just being humiliated. I do still like the little Starmerlings. If any of you aren't familiar with these, a few days ago, people started posting these things. Actually, I'm not going to show this one because it looks like it's just, seems to have like some sort of ISIS flag behind it. This is a photo of a Starmerling. Neutroy Starmerling, genderless and boring. There was just like these little photos of him. Saucony are great running shoes. I've been wearing them for 20 years. I don't run. I walk around a lot. I met Jeremy Corbyn in 2016. I met him live. I met Jeremy Corbyn. I recorded a video with him, but the audio's shit, so I never used it.
Of people across our country who are so desperate for change. He blames his officials. He says he had no idea.
Why did you delete that, Sophie?
He gives every impression of a prime minister in office, but not in power.
Ed Davey seems okay, but he's still like pretty pro-Israel. He didn't want Israel. He was like, Israel's got to be in Eurovision, man. Keep Israel in Eurovision, man. Please, I want to see Israel in Eurovision. Okay, right, we have another story. We got a story that's capturing the hearts and minds of everyone on the internet from far... Showed Discord, apologies, whoops. Sorry, it's nothing that significant. Oh, sorry, shit. Whoops. Whoops, I apologize for that. Sorry. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh shit, sorry. I just lost my train of thought. Okay, right. Quickly. Check my messages. I saw your messages. What? Right, okay. George Washington, are you a bot? George Washington, if you're not a bot, respond to me. Iran was negotiating with conceited Trump. Brats who murdered their grandparents and thousands of their children, relatives and friends. No apologies, no remorse, demanding to rule their country. China, Cuba, Iran, Russia, Venezuela and everyone. We love you very much and want to be good friends. We hate the way our corrupt politicians are making trouble and prevent world peace. If you're not a bot, respond now. Respond now if you're not a bot. Okay, right. We're gonna... So the story that's been capturing minds and will always work to capture hearts and minds is... this. So... Oh, fuck off. I hate this. Israeli soldier. So, Israelis have been caught doing their favourite thing, which is causing mass destruction and destroying civilians' property and causing offence to as many people as possible. By the way, the Israeli military should have taken Destiny's advice. Destiny's advice was basically... basically... Guys, put your phones away. Stop doing this stuff. I don't know how he got this photo. But yeah, this is in the town of Debel in southern Lebanon. And an Israeli soldier smashed the head off Jesus Christ that was from like a crucifix. Now, I mean, the fact that this has caused probably more outrage than the general destruction of Gaza is unbelievable. And Lebanon, excuse me, southern Lebanon. Grok is amazing at this point because Grok has confirmed, no, this doesn't appear to be a real photo of the claimed event. Modern AI images can look indistinguishable from authentic ones, but searches across news outlets and reports show no credible verification of an Israeli soldier hammer smashing a Jesus Christ statue head in southern Lebanon recently. The image is only circulating today on social media. A separate 2025 incident involved an IOF bulldozer toppling a St. George statue in Yaroun, reported by Lebanese NNA and Anadolu, but it doesn't match this description or photo. It's unbelievable. By the way, Yunus Tarawi is a great source. Like, Yunus Tarawi doesn't post fake shit. But I don't know how Grok is... People trust this. People think Grok is... Oh, don't worry. Grok has said that it is now correct. But he also gave just a look at Grok's capture, man. Who remembers the days when Grok was on his crazy shit? The IOF has now confirmed that the photo is authentic and is investigating the soldier for smashing the Jesus statue in southern Lebanon, calling it inconsistent with their values per Haaretz, Times of Israel, Al Jazeera, and Anadolu. Early checks on the 19th found no verification updates that change that. La Boo-Boo. And community notes can cite these sources directly. Hey, Marcus Ryan, Jesus was from the DPRK. His real name was Juche. Juche? I've never seen that actually pronounced. I've just seen it written, but I didn't know that. What? I never knew that his real name was Juche, and he was actually a Korean gentleman. Very intriguing. Thank you for letting me know that one. And thank you for the €2. Yeah, I mean, Grok is a particularly interesting character. But yeah, this whole story is pretty insane. And so this is the Christian town of Debel. Now, Israel will actually probably prosecute the person who did this. And the reason they're going to put them in Juche. Okay, the reason that Israel is likely to bring trouble upon this person is because Israel has really been trying to build a relationship with Christians in southern Lebanon. They actually love this shit. Cedar Guard Lebanon. Is that what it's called? The Guardians of the Cedar. That's it called. Israel, by the way, apparently a guy called Ron Bergman investigated this, and he found this was an Israeli front group that carried out a heinous car bombing. They were led by Etienne Sakar, who's all of his children, or both of his children, or two of his daughters, I don't know if it's all of his children, are both singers. But yeah, they carried out heinous attacks. They carried out one of the worst car bombings in world history, I think. I think they killed 80 people without hitting their target. But anyway, Israel loves Christians in Lebanon, but particularly Christian fascists. I mean, as many of you would have seen... there was a pretty decent article in Israel's message to southern Lebanon, Shiites must go. So this was from this was a while ago. It's a pretty decent article. It's basically about how Israel's trying to sow tensions in the country by pushing this notion that Shias will endanger you by telling people do not hold a singular, do not look after a singular Shia person, and it's fomenting tensions because basically it will portray all Shias as who collaborate as collaborators with the Israeli state, and it'll inflame their tensions with Hezbollah, no doubt. Moreover, which could lead to reprisal attacks, whether those are sanctioned by Hezbollah or not. And also, it's obviously just creating more and more divisions. That's the shit they're doing. And yes, they're doing... It's literally just the opening to... Inglourious Bastards. Are you hiding Jewish people? Are you hiding Shias? Amazing that the way in which Israel life imitates the art of Quentin Tarantino and his favorite country actually does. And the page is called Guardians of the Cedar. They're like a Lebanese Christian ultra-nationalist organization. But Israel's always been trying to foment civil war in Lebanon. They want it to be a Christian country that allies with Israel because it's entirely reliant on a relationship with Israel. That's what Israel wants for Lebanon. That's what Israel has decided and has long tried to establish and inculcate. Zaya Zamboni, shout out for the 5 gifted. Thank you for the goated support as always, and great to see you. Everyone who just got a membership over on YouTube, enjoy it. Thank you so much for supporting the channel and making streaming possible. I am enjoying it. And thank you for everyone who watches the podcast, supports my channel and everything. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching over on Twitch. Thank you everything. W gifties indeed. W. But yeah, Israel's actions in southern Lebanon are insane. And the reason that Israel cares about this is because it makes them look bad. And they look so bad that Netanyahu has released a powerful statement, which I'm going to save as an image and we're going to look at. Hold on. So this is what he said. He says, as the Jewish state, Israel cherishes and upholds the Jewish values of tolerance and mutual respect between Jews and worshippers of all faiths. All religions flourish in our land, and we view members of all faiths as equal in building our society and region. That's not how he sounds, so I'm going to stop doing that. Yesterday, like the overwhelming majority of Israelis, I was stunned and saddened to learn that an IOF soldier damaged the Catholic religious icon in southern Lebanon. I mean, once again, Netanyahu is not stunned or saddened when Israelis massacre nearly 100 paramedics in Lebanon. All this guy cares about, all this guy wants to do is do PR for Israel, and is doing PR for Israel. And that PR revolves around mostly right now, basically pushing the notion that Israel loves Christians. I mean, it's a big thing. By the way, one of my favorite friends who I had a debate with, and recently we're going to watch her video in a bit. She has a bad haircut. Some of you may know her. Her name is Madeline, so we're going to watch her in a second. Okay. I condemn the act in the strongest terms. Military authorities are conducting a criminal probe of the matter and will take appropriately harsh disciplinary action against the offender. While Christians are being slaughtered in Syria and Lebanon by Muslims, the Christian population in Israel thrives. Unlike elsewhere in the Middle East, Israel is the only country in the region that the Christian population and standard of living is growing. Israel is the only place in the Middle East that adheres to freedom of worship for all. We express regret for the incident and for any hurt this has caused to believers in Lebanon and around the world. By the way, this is the most important propaganda point. So if you want to see what Israel is now going down the line of, Haaretz had an article about this. Israel targeting... I don't know if this is the one that I saw a while ago, but I think it's the same thing. Yeah, so this is... Haaretz has done some reporting on this. I don't know if this is the article I've read, but the basic premise will be the same. So, basically, Israel is basically doing a geofencing campaign where they're going to target young Christians who are at universities, who are at mass, and they're going to try and propagandize them to support Israel. I mean, it's insane, and I don't think it's actually a winning strategy. I don't think there's any winning strategy for Israel, but this is why Israel is so hyper-fixated on this, and why this is one of the most significant incidents that Israel has suffered recently, because this is obviously such a striking image. But do not worry, Israel has its best propagandist on the case, Maddie, aka that opinionated girl, aka that Zionist girl. If you're not familiar with her, she's the lady who would be the world's best ventriloquist because she does not open her mouth really when she talks. She also kind of looks like Rango, which is pretty crazy. She does actually kind of look like Rango. She kind of looks like, I don't know who the female character is in Rango, but she kind of looks like that. She's a member of Kufi. She went on the Kufi trip to Israel. But just have a listen to this. We've got one of the best defenses ever.
There's a terrible photo of an IDF soldier currently going viral for desecrating a statue of Jesus over in Lebanon. There's no excuses for this behavior. It's abhorrent, it's unacceptable, and I truly hope that that individual is identified and held accountable because he is in direct violation of...
This woman chose the wrong career of being a pro-Israel propagandist. She does not open her mouth really when she talks. Imagine the puppeteering skills that this woman could actually possess if instead of making pro-Israel slop and working for Goofy, she did like, I don't know, she had like a dummy. She would be brilliant. I would watch that. I think that that's your new career, young Madeline.
The IDF's code of conduct, and somebody like that truly does not need to be in the army. I'm very happy to see many of my Israeli friends also speaking out against this and condemning him as well as his behavior. Unfortunately, we know the media. No Jews, no news. There's a reason why...
She's not even Jewish, by the way. She's a member of Kufi, which is the Christians United for Israel. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
This is going viral, and it didn't go viral.
This lady met Netanyahu. By the way, she's like an actual... This lady is an important propagandist.
When around the time of Christmas in the West Bank, Palestinians decided to decapitate a statue of baby Jesus from a...
By the way, as well, something pretty significant with all of this is obviously she's pointing out the actions of 3 random guys in the... just 3 random Palestinians who were, by the way, arrested by the Palestinian Authority, as opposed to someone in the Israeli military who has a license to destroy anything and everything that he wants, and she likes that, but God forbid he does it against a Christian piece of property because the image is striking and it looks bad for Israel. That's what she cares about. If this was, any kind of Palestinian religious iconography. In fact, if it was a mosque, she wouldn't care if it was destroyed.
Nativity scene at a local church and then light that nativity scene on fire. Did you hear about that case? No, probably not, because the media likes to take a few bad apples from Israel and then try to use that to portray the rest of society, and then they like to do the inverse with Muslims. They like to take the few good Muslims and then use that to try to make it seem like this is a piece.
I was once talking, what's so funny about these people's propaganda is, you can so tell this person would be a Nazi. Like, you could so tell this person would be a Nazi. Because, and the reason I say that Madeline would be a Nazi is because her whole argument is like, there are a few good Muslims, but the rest of them are evil. What do you think they once said about Jewish people? What do you think they did with Jewish religious text and picked out about them? It's actually unbelievable. It's actually unbelievable. And by the way, this person is not a Christian. Where is Jesus's message of radical love and love for the other in, I only care about Israeli soldiers when they are destroying, when they're destroying Christian property? That is it. I don't think Jesus's radical message was, please don't destroy iconography of me, and when you do that, you should call it out. But yeah.
Peaceful religion, a peaceful people. In Israel, the Christian population is increasing. That's the only country where that's happening in the Middle East. Christians there...
By the way, I bet you any money a message went out and they were told, right, you're to make content about this. She's met Netanyahu. This is genuinely someone who Israel and Kufi rate as like a decent propagandist. And she should do it with a dummy. Kufi, I'm giving you ideas here. And I ain't even getting paid for this, Kufi. Give her like a ventriloquist dummy and make the dummy talk, because she could talk without moving her mouth. I promise you. Look how little it opens. It's unbelievable.
Live with full rights, full freedoms, and they can practice their religion freely. They can wear their crucifix as some...
By the way, this is obviously not true. This is just obviously not true. We all know this. Christians regularly speak out about the persecution that they face, the violence which they're subjected to, the spitting on which they're subjected to. It's insane.
Who has actually been there and done that, I could tell you there was no persecution. Nobody was disrespectful. I didn't get spit at. It's very sad to see. It's very sad to know that in Lebanon, the Christians actually used to be the majority until, of course, Islam came in, and now they're only 30% of the population.
By the way, that is an amazing statement. First of all, you don't know that. That's a guess. Shias are probably the majority. However, Christians were the majority in 1930. The reason, and this is the funny thing, by the way, they all act as if it's some sinister plot. And this is the thing. Their worldview is so simplistic. The reason that Shias have become a majority, this is generally true for in every country, and it's all true around the world as well. People in poverty tend to have more children. It's just the case. Shias have always been marginalized and have lived in poverty. Are you really surprised that they now outnumber Christians? Are you really surprised? It's not some sinister Islam plan.
And face heavy persecution.
And also, yes, true, that's a good point. There are a lot of Sunni Muslims, but Palestinians, are they citizens of Lebanon? I don't think they technically are. I think they're stateless people.
It's sad to know that Christians in Gaza were actually being kidnapped by Islamic extremists and forced to convert to Islam.
By the way, also, just highlighting the actions of a guy that isn't even in Hamas, who are doing these actions, who do these actions, in comparison to the Israeli military, who carry out wanton destruction of whatever property they want and do oppress Christians.
And the news didn't say a word about it. When the last Christian bookstore was firebombed in Gaza by Islamic extremists with the bookstore owner being murdered, nobody said anything.
It was also 2017. What on earth are you talking about? By the way, definitely fed this shit.
It didn't become a trend because they couldn't blame the people that they wanted to.
How was this going to become a trend? What, the trend of this is bad? That is bad, yes. But once again, this would bear so much more significance were it not for the fact that there is constantly shit like this. This is from 2023. Anglican Church and UK condemn desecration of Jerusalem graves. 2023. This is from Yolanda Nell in the BBC. More than 30 graves at the Protestant. We have noticed that hatred speech and hatred crimes are on the rise, Hossam Naoum said. Standing next to the vandalized graves, this is only an indication that we are not in a place where people can tolerate each other or accept each other. We see more exclusion, more segregation, and that's what really grieves us. The Archbishop of Canterbury, blah, 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 these are just condemnations. Israeli police said they had visited the cemetery and were investigating. It's just like, by the way, like as well, Armenian Christian. Like, the fact is they rely on singular incidents of action as a means to demonize all Palestinians, all Lebanese people, and blah, blah, blah. Jerusalem. Armenian Christians fight controversial land deal. Armenian Christians were just getting their land taken away by Israelis. And she's like, well, I went and I had a good time. Yes, because you are a white lady on a propaganda trip for fucking Kufi.
So yes, what this soldier did, disgustingly horrific, and he needs to be held accountable. Just make sure that...
By the way, once again, also, these faux Christians whose outrage lies not in Israel's crimes, but and the mass child killing in Gaza and the mass killings in Gaza, but much rather in I don't know, a statue getting smashed is insane.
You're keeping the same energy, otherwise you're just tokenizing the pain of Christians in order to project your Jew hatred.
By the way, her haircut. Her haircut is bad. She should go back to having her hair over. It's just, yeah. Catholic conservative Zionist. Cry. It really doesn't feel like wait, also, I really wonder what she has to say about the Pope right now. The Pope is increasingly evil and anti-Israel. And yeah, I mean, only this one soldier. I mean, Israel says it regrets deadly strike on Catholic Church in Gaza, July 2025. They bombed a church, killed 3 people. Or how about the story of the Israeli soldier who shot Nahida and Samar Anton, who were just trying to go to the bathroom at a church in Gaza? The IOF stated the incidents occurred during a blitz programmed to look for armaments in the area. Following an investigation, the IOF said Hamas had fired an RPG in the vicinity of a church, and the IOF soldiers had fired back and hit Hamas spotters. In January, the IOF backtracked, saying that it would take an examination of the incident. So what happened? They took an investigation? She doesn't give a shit. All of these fake Christians are so disgusting. So disgusting. I mean, the thing is the 7K thing's bullshit. You think they're paying her 7K for a video that gets 1K likes? Not a fucking chance. They're probably paying her, but more indirectly. She gets propaganda trips to Kufi. She gets to meet Netanyahu. There's literally a photo of that Zionist girl. With Netanyahu. just insane. Just insane. And this whole thing of like, Peter Oborn has a long video about this.
Oppression of Christians. It's difficult now being a Christian in Jerusalem.
Yeah, it is. It's very difficult. I feel like I have to hide who I am in order to maintain my safety.
It's very frightening, some of the things that this report is saying, that Harris...
By the way, also, the main contentious issue is that, like, for these people, is that, like, well, I have a good time in Israel. Yes, you are white. You are going to the settler colony to do propaganda for them. The fuck do you think they're gonna do to you? Beat the shit out of you? Well, what do you mean? You're not a Palestinian. You don't live there. It has no reason to fucking oppress you.
And violence against Christians continue in a climate which is intolerant of diversity.
I've met this guy, by the way.
Come and visit us, see how we really live, if we really need to be.
I'm probably going to get copyrighted for that, which is annoying, but it's just insane. It's just insane. Christian, but only because it affirms their bigotry. Of course, like, Jesus' actual message of, like, radical love is something within Christianity that, you know, like, okay, that's great. But the unfortunate thing is most of these people just use it for heinous actions. By the way, here's another one. In December 2024, shortly after the Syrians liberated their country from Assad, Israel opportunistically occupied Mount Hermon. The first thing they did was destroy a cross on the mountain peak. Destroying Christian symbols aligns perfectly with IOF values. Of course it does. Here's BM saying it aligns perfectly with traditional Jewish values. I think it's more complex than that. I mean, like, the spitting on people is, on Christians is a tradition, and churches, not actually Christians, is a tradition that comes from like, when Jewish people didn't live in Israel, and it was because they were oppressing, like, you know, because Christians oppressed Jewish people. That's where it came from. Now it's very, very, very different. This is obviously a completely different dynamic. Christians who live inside of Israel are not oppressing Jewish people. The Jewish settler colony oppresses them, but it's not because they're Christians, it's because they're Palestinians. That's why it's not even entirely a religious dynamic. It is because Israel is a Jewish supremacist settler colony. It is a state for Jewish people, whatever the hell that means. It's just... yeah, like, I don't know, there are tons of reports about Christians in Israel, and I don't know why they pay for this shit. I wouldn't be paying for this shit. I bet there's some, like, a good video.
Officials are taking report from Israel today, where surprising report from Israel today, where officials are taking seriously a recent upsurge in spitting and hitting attacks on clergy and the vandalism of Christian sites.
Christians in Jerusalem's Old City say they've been repeatedly assaulted. So how are Christians...
yeah, but the problem is ultimately that they're Palestinians. What the problem of what Palestinians are what Christians are experiencing is because they're Palestinians. Actually, because they're not Jewish, I think is the better term, because obviously this happens to Armenians as well.
Christian leaders responding? CBN's Julie Stahl brings us the story from Jerusalem.
The situation led Israeli President Isaac Herzog and Police Commissioner Yaakov Shabtai to meet leaders of the Orthodox and Catholic churches of the Holy Land.
In recent months, we've seen very serious phenomena towards the Christian denominations in the Holy Land. Our brothers and sisters, Christian citizens, feel attacked in their places of prayer, in their cemeteries and on the streets.
Christians in Jerusalem's Old City say they are often harassed, spit on, and even physically attacked by religious Jewish youth.
I view this phenomenon as extreme and unacceptable in any shape or form. This phenomenon needs to be uprooted.
Earlier incidents include the desecration of a Protestant cemetery on Mount Zion, an attack on international Christians during a day of prayer for Jerusalem, and harassment at a
Oh, I'm muted. I am sorry. Please don't tell me I'm muted. Sorry. What a pause frame here. What a pause frame. Oh my word. Look at that. That is a soy jack and a half. Oh. But yeah, I mean, I just don't think all Jewish people are opposed to Christians. Some are, and I think that the dynamic here and what actually matters much more than the religious aspect. Not to say that that doesn't play into it, that it doesn't have any significance. Of course it does. Of course that matters. But the more significant thing is obviously that Israel is a Jewish supremacist settler colony.
Messianic concert in Jerusalem.
We must respect the members of all religions. We've committed to this since the dawn of our existence. This is the most basic commandment of love your neighbor as yourself.
Church leaders expressed their desire to work together with Israeli authorities.
We need to work together in order to encourage coexistence and solidarity between us, and the love between.
By the way, I also love how they keep saying this whilst one of the three most holy sites in Islam is just closed by the Israeli authorities.
Between us, because we are brothers in the same state. We live in the same places, and we need to live together in quiet and peace.
Recently, Israeli chancellor.
Yeah, I think it's just. I think it's just, I don't know if I'll look into the Schofield Bible. I don't know anything about that right now, and I'm not a theologian, I'll be frank. Maybe I'll look into it. I'll just put that in the notes. Hold on. I'll try and look into it. But, I mean, the point that I'm trying to make is, like, here is that what really matters is Palestinians being oppressed, and also the way in which the Israeli state is inflicting violence on so many different Palestinians. These people only care about Christianity because it's a propaganda tool for them to make out that Israel is this multicultural society. Because most of these people completely give up that Israel is multicultural for Palestinians now. They just maintain that Palestinians are barbarous fucking savages.
Channel 13 reporter Yossi Eli went undercover as a priest for a day. Dressed in a robe, he walked through the old city with Franciscan Father Alberto. In the first 5 minutes, he was spat at 5 times by Orthodox Jewish Israelis. In Haifa, Israel's police commissioner said the police are working to eradicate incidents and trends that affect the sense of security.
We're here to reassure you of that and to offer any assistance that may be required. As part of the cooperation between all the parties, we're working to bridge the gaps in places of conflict while simultaneously striving to provide the vital sense of security.
David Parsons from the International Christian Embassy Jerusalem says the attacks are coming from a fringe element.
Most Israelis welcome Christians here. They welcome Christian support. But there does seem to be a fringe, a small fringe on the religious right that for whatever motivations are trying to harass and give trouble for Christians here.
I wonder what Ben Gvir often says about Christians. I wonder if there is a single commentary from Ben Gvir about Christians.
He also says it's a learning curve for Israel right now.
Jewish people.
Oh, there is of course the famous Ben Gvir quote, which is true when he said Israeli spitting on Christians is an old. It genuinely is. It is from a different time though, and a different dynamic of Christians genuinely oppressing and brutalizing Jewish people.
Wouldn't tolerate these sorts of attacks against them. In other countries, they're very vocal about it, and they shouldn't tolerate it here when their own co-religionists carry out similar attacks against Christians.
Parsons told CBN News the scriptures are clear about how Christians should treat the Jewish people.
Scriptures are clear that Genesis 12:3 says we need to bless the Jewish people. Isaiah says comfort them. Paul in Romans 11 says show them mercy. So we have biblical commands to stand with Israel, support them. We're not going to condition that support on whether or not these attacks are stopping, but it does make it harder for us to build support and friendship for Israel out there.
I like how he just enunciates what the problem is for people here, that it's about the support, not the actual attacks, and that's what they're upset about, because when Israelis do this to Palestinians, they support this. And yeah, how fringe can you say it is when it's the upper echelons of Israeli politics. No, I haven't seen the Palantir Manifesto. I've heard people talking about it. And the one final thing I wanted to stick on was Taibeh, about Taibeh, the Palestinian Christian village in occupied West Bank. Oh, I'll watch this, actually. I'll watch Al Jazeera. I don't know what SBS is.
Church leaders and diplomats are visiting the predominantly Christian town of Taibeh in the occupied West Bank after it was attacked by Israeli settlers. Heads of the churches called for settlers to be held accountable for their crimes. Last week, settlers started fires near the remains of a 5th century church and attacked local people. Representatives from more than 20 countries, including the European Union, were among the delegates. Al Jazeera correspondent Nida Ibrahim joins us now in the studio for more on this. Nida, tell us about Taibeh and what's been happening there.
Well, what's been happening is that Israeli settlers have been attacking Palestinians there, a church, and
Exactly. Killing Palestinians, cool, because it's not difficult to justify. Israelis smashing up a statue in Lebanon, a fucking inanimate object. I condemn the Israeli military. It's so insane. It's actually unbelievable that this is the world of Israeli propagandists. That they're telling you that they're Christians, so they're deeply concerned about what's going on. But their Christianity and their Christian morality somehow doesn't extend to the tens of thousands of lives extinguished by the Israelis, or perhaps, let's say, I don't know, the millions more whose lives are torn apart by Israel. That of course is the line for these people. No.
archaeological church from the 5th century. It had ruins that people were still using in some religious ceremonies in the area. But Israeli settlers came there. They set up fire not once, but twice to the area, including the cemetery nearby, as well as bringing their cattle, their sheep, to graze in the lands where Palestinians have been growing olive trees. They've been making a living out of these olive trees for years, if not decades. And now we are talking about another threat to the Christian community. This is an all-Christian village in the occupied West Bank, the last remaining that is all Christian. We have Christians all around the occupied West Bank, but this one is all Christian community, has churches. It's a very proud community that has been under attack for years, but this time it seems that this church is also under attack, as we've seen.
It's like the CNN journalist incident getting so much publicity that they apologised for that, and the same week the IOF tortured a baby. Which CNN incident was that? I don't remember that, the CNN incident. In Palestine, we have two Taibehs. The one near Ramallah is where they make the good alcohol. Really, what is it? Is it arak? Is that what they make?
Seen the Israeli settlers come time and again, not just on Monday of last week, but also on Friday. This is what church leaders have been calling a systemic and targeted attack against Christians. We're talking about 50,000 of them only in the occupied West Bank, already a very small but a very proud minority. And they also consider themselves under attack, not just because they're Christians, but because they're Palestinians. But still, this is something that the church is very worried about. It has been trying for years.
It's like insane because these people don't even make the distinction that they think Palestinian Christians are good. They don't even bother to make that distinction. They just fucking accept this.
To enhance the steadfastness of the Christian community amongst Palestine and get them to stay as long as possible. But these acts of settler attacks are not helping, as we've been seeing, not just in Taibeh, but all across the occupied West Bank. We've been seeing how Israeli settlers are pushing Palestinians out of their lands, out of their homes. It's really something that has been very alarming, and that's why we've seen members of the community, priests, as well as the heads of churches of Jerusalem deliver statements to the European Union, to these representatives of 20 countries, that they should intervene to do something when it comes to holding settlers accountable. The key word here, Melina, as we always say, is impunity. And Israeli settlers feel that they have a free hand to do whatever they want in the occupied West Bank when it comes to attacking Palestinians, because they feel that they're backed by their state and they will get away with anything.
Many thanks, Nida Ibrahim.
Yeah, I was muted for a second, but I caught myself. I mean, I don't know, just like all of this, the way in which you see this framed, it's just, yeah. Do non-Muslim Palestinians drink? Yes. I mean, probably some who are raised Muslim drink as well, just probably not practicing. Well, Jesus said something like, if they spit on us, we'll turn the cheek, we turn the other cheek to let them spit on it too. I'm not sure. What is this? Oh, okay. Yeah. Israeli military suspends. I do remember this. Thank you for sending that. Yeah, I remember it. Okay, yeah, I mean, just overall, like, an insane story. And the fact that, you know, the Israeli propagandists work on that, so cool. I'm actually making a TikTok about that opinionated girl. Okay, let's do this Palantir manifesto. I've not fucking seen this. This sounds crazy. I should have brought on River One to fucking talk about it. That would have been great. Okay. Because we get asked a lot, the Technological Republic in brief, Jesus Christ, already starts out like a lame little nerd thing. These people should get swirlies and socked for being nerds. Silicon Valley owes a moral debt to the country that made its rise possible. The engineering elite of Silicon Valley has an affirmative obligation to practice in the defense of the nation. We must rebel against the tyranny of the apps. Is the iPhone our greatest creative, if not crowning achievement as a civilization? The object has changed our lives, but it may also now be limiting and constraining our sense of the possible. Okay, first point, I'm intrigued. Because I do think, you honestly think that Sartre would have written any of his long-ass books, or Marx would have written his books, if he could have played on his iPhone. Also, by the way, it feels like the computer is the far more innovative thing. That it's basically just a computer in our hands. I suppose smartphones have undeniably changed our lives, but in some ways, yes, and they're very integrated into our lives. But as a more revolutionary piece of tech, obviously the mobile generally, and also the computer and the internet is way more. I can't stay long, but the title makes it seem you're streaming. I don't know what that means. I'm not even going to read that out. They got better tech than the iPhone. They got the Huawei. Free email is not enough. The decadence of a culture or civilization, and indeed its ruling class, will be forgiven only if that culture is capable of delivering economic growth. By the way, this is meant to sound smart for very, 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 very incredibly stupid people. The limits of soft power of soaring rhetoric alone have been exposed. The ability of free and democratic societies to prevail requires something more than moral appeal. It requires hard power, and hard power in this century will be built on software. The question is not whether AI weapons will be built, it is who will build them and for what purpose. Killing children, perhaps? Our adversaries will not pause to indulge in theatrical debates about the merits of developing technologies with critical military and national security applications. They will proceed. I'm going to be frank here. I hope that China invents some kind of AI which puts Palantir in a blender. That's what I'm saying. The company Palantir, I'm not insinuating any violence, but I'm insinuating that I would like to see some Chinese tech that destroyed Palantir. National service should be a universal duty. We should, as a society, consider moving away from an all-volunteer force and only to fight the next war if everyone shares the risk and cost. Draft all of Palantir and ban them from doing software engineering. They have to go to the front lines. Send them to go and do the seize Kharg Island. Go on, you go. Send that little freak Peter Thiel to get up in Kharg Island's business. Go on, send him there. If a US Marine asks for a better rifle, we should build it, and the same goes for software. We should as a country be capable of continuing a debate around the appropriateness of military action abroad while remaining unflinching in our commitment to those we have asked to step in harm's way. Oh, Jesus Christ. Who is this for? Who reads this and is like, fuck yeah, the tech company's gonna blow up a baby. Oh yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Public servants need not be our priests. This sounds like it is written by someone who likes Warhammer 40,000. In fact, it was probably written by someone who likes Warhammer 40k. I think this was. I think that this is written by someone who thinks Space Marines are real. Any business that compensated its employees in the way that the federal government compensates public servants would struggle to survive. We should show far more grace towards those who have subjected themselves to public life. The eradication of any space for forgiveness. Okay, they're just talking about platforming creeps and pedos. A jettisoning of any tolerance for the complexities and contradictions of the human psyche. They're talking about platforming pedos. May leave us with a cast of characters at the helm we will grow to regret. By the way, the cast of characters at the helm right now are like drunken sex offender, sober sex offender, Donald Trump. We do have diversity. So there's sober sex offender, Mr. Trump, drunken sex offender, Mr. Alleged sex offender, excuse me, Pete Hegseth, Kash Patel, just a drunk, don't know if he's done any offending. I do not know. I am not making any allegations. Ethan Klein will probably be sending this straight to the Trump administration, like, sue this guy, sue this guy. There's even a figure that's just as bad as Alex Karp, who literally released from prison a few years ago. Really, I have not heard that, but Palantir probably have a Space Marine project. Palantir are going to turn Peter Thiel into a Primaris Marine. One of the things I was excited by Peter Thiel was when he was like being negative about trans people, but not because he didn't like them, but because trans people weren't going far enough apparently in their vision of what was possible, and they should be becoming like bionicles or some shit. I don't know. Could be something like that. Anyway, the psychologization of modern politics is leading us astray. Those who look to the political arena to nourish their soul and sense of self, who rely too heavily on their internal life finding expression in people they may never meet, will be left disappointed. What does this mean? What does this mean? What on earth are these words? Yeah, for the Emperor indeed. For the Emperor, indeed. You should all look at... What does this even mean? None of us are ever going to meet. None of us are ever going to meet you, and you want us to think that you're like tech heroes of the world. You're all little sad, sweaty pricks who I have no time for because you've annoyed me. And yeah, look, okay, I'm saying all of this. If Peter Thiel transforms into a robot and he starts claiming he's transgender, I'll be interested in Palantir. I'll support that because I am a woke leftist who is relying too heavily on their internal life, finding expression in people they may never meet. And I will find that expression in a robot transgender Peter Thiel, no doubt. They do this whole thing where America is at war with the world, and they argue we need World War II defense spending. I know, and it's like in Europe, we could just... this is what we spoke about on the podcast and what I read. Europe is so funny because we're always told, oh, you don't spend enough on NATO. We spend way too much money, and it's also because we have way too big and bloated an army. But because the people at Palantir are so stupid, they're like, yep, let's bloat the American army even more. I've got one going for you, Chris. Enjoying the sunshine. Hell yeah, a little number to take the edge off. A little number to take the edge off on the day the Palantir manifesto drops. Ooh yeah, baby. Our society has grown too eager to hasten and is often gleeful at the demise of its enemies. The vanquishing of an opponent is a moment to pause, not rejoice. Weren't these guys talking about like why it's kind of like awesome to kill people in Palestine and kill your enemies? It's also contradictory. This is just what... Like, I'm not gonna lie. Guess what I did this weekend? I was painting Warhammer. I enjoyed it. I'm not very good, but I like learning, and it's something where I don't have to look at a screen. It's why I wasn't on my computer all weekend. I was just painting Warhammer. But this stuff puts me off it. This stuff where you're writing like your creepy manifesto that's like, we need epic politics where everyone's an epic soldier with software. I don't like that. The atomic age is ending. What age of deterrence? The atomic age is ending, and a new era of deterrence built on AI is set to begin. What would even be your deterrence based on AI? Your deterrence based on AI is just mass killing people and their families. I started painting Tyranids. I don't know if I'm ever going to play it. I don't know. I just like the painting. It's just some new hobby. I also love the game. I love the game, but I've been painting Tyranids. I got the Leviathan box for like £30, and I was like, okay, right, I'm going to paint this. So it was a pretty good deal. That's very cheap. Guys, I now need, although I've got to say, I need £27 on Twitch because I've spent all of my money on Tyranids. The army of Allah, of course. Oh. Anyway, no other country in the history of the world has advanced progressives values more than this one. The United States is far from perfect, but it is easy to forget how much more opportunity exists in this country for those who are not hereditary elites than in any other nation on the planet. Right. Thanks for that one. Thanks for that beautiful one. And I am learning about thinning paints. I am learning, because when I was a kid, I used to paint them, and I did not know how to thin paint, so I have some pretty poorly painted Warhammer, but I was very young, so they're not as bad as not as bad as I used to be. I know. These people invest way too much faith in tech. These people would be cast out by the Emperor. 30 for the Tyranids half, so it's not bad. Yeah, I know. Just portraying this country as like as brilliant is just ridiculous. It's utterly ridiculous. Anyway, American power has made possible an extraordinarily long peace. Too many have forgotten, or perhaps take for granted, that nearly a century of some version of peace has prevailed in the world without a great power military conflict. At least three. There's kind of a great power military conflict going on right now. There is a great power military conflict. What is this? There is one. Russia is currently fighting against Ukraine, not a great power, but the great powers are using it as a proxy conflict to fight against Russia. There's also a screamer killer in it. There's also a screamer killer which I've painted, but not very well. I'm not showing you until I'm better at painting. But yeah, I mean, also there's been such little peace for the vast majority of people over the world over. There's been huge death and destruction. But I'm seeing point 15, and you guys seem to really like this one. Billions of people and their children and now grandchildren have never known a world war. What on earth? The post-war neutering of Germany and Japan must be undone. The defanging of Germany was an overcorrection, for which Europe is now paying a heavy price. How's Palantir's stock doing today? It's down 1%. I think it should probably be down certainly more after this commentary. I'm surprised that it's this high. No, until I can paint properly, I'm not showing you a picture. I'm more just learning. Like, I was painting the Termagants, and like I was just like kind of trying shit out and learning how to do it. But anyway, this is insane. Obviously, an overcorrection is pretty wild when especially most of the, you know, the German, like, tech people, the tech of that day, like, who was the guy who made the V2s? Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun made the V2s, right? Werner von Braun went over to the US and continued giving out his tech.
La Boubou.
Hey, thank you for the €2, Marcus Ryan. Thanks for supporting the channel. Barbara Pitt for Palantir. Definitely don't know what Barbara Pitt is, but maybe Palantir need that. I don't know what a Barbara Pitt is, though, however. No idea. But yeah, I mean, this is just insane. Obviously, Germany needed to be defanged. It needed to be denazified more than it needed to be defanged more than it was and denazified, but still, you know, interesting commentary. A similar and highly theatrical commitment to Japanese pacifism will, if maintained, also threaten to shift the balance of power in Asia. Who has written this? I seem to remember that Germany remilitarizing, that Japan militarizing massively was really, really, really bad. That those things were horrible. And yes, it is Werner von Braun. Braun? Werner. They say V is an F, isn't it? Or am I wrong? Werner von... No, W is an F. Werner von Braun. BMV? Is that correct? I don't know. Anyway. I don't think that these are good things, I'm going to say. By the way, can someone tell me, what is up with people having that little paperclip as their profile picture? And someone is texting me. They're texting up a storm on my phone. They sent me 4 texts. 4! Oh no, they sent me 1. I was wrong. Right, anyway. We should applaud those who attempt to build where the market has failed to act. The culture almost snickers. Is it not sniggers? Is snickers the right word? Oh, no, it is. I have heard it. I was a bit confused there. Anyway, the culture almost snickers at Musk's interest in grand narrative. I thought it was correct, but I was like, I don't think you can say that. Very funny. It is a word. I'm not being cheeky. If I got into trouble... By the way, obviously, I did not say anything wrong. Shut up. Shut up. Shut the hell up. Oh, shut the hell up. This is like... I think I've told you this. One time I was live... And I called Hasbullah, I think I called him a dwarf, and I don't think you meant to say that. And this person came on and they were like, you're anti-disabled people. And then straight afterwards, I was like, I'm going to go smoke a ciggy. And I called it a British cigarette, and they did not like it. And I cannot eat Snickers because I have a nut allergy. And I know what Unit 731 is. Peter Thiel probably wants to create Unit 731 again, and except this time they'll like test AI on people. What? Snickers? What did I do wrong? No, there is a word to snigger. It means to... now I just don't want to say it. Now I don't want to say it because you guys have made me uncomfortable. And it's a fine word to use. It's a fine word to use. It's a fine word to use. You know what? I'm not even humouring this. This is why the Chris Wright wing arc. Yeah, I'm going to upload a video and it's like, what you've got to understand is Israel didn't mean to smash up the Christian statue of Jesus. Oh yeah, again. Yap. Oh yeah. It's just sick. It's twisted. Ugh. Anyway. Back to my conversation. In grand narrative, as if billionaires ought to simply stay in their lane of enriching themselves, any curiosity or genuine interest in the value of what he has created is essentially diminished or perhaps lurks from beneath a thinly veiled scorn. Silicon Valley must play a role in addressing violent crime. Many politicians across the US have essentially shrugged when it comes to violent crime. It's all they talk about. Abandoning any serious efforts to address the problem or take on any risk with their constituencies or donors in coming up with solutions and experiments in what should be a desperate bid to save lives. By the way, I'm really happy reading this to think that the British government might be giving our data to this company. I think that this is the number one company that I would want having my data. I think people who think that it's a great idea for Germany to be less defanged and to give them more weapons is fantastic. I think that that's a brilliant. God, Jesus Christ. I cannot imagine what is happening to the market right now. And yeah, my next video, I'm gonna come back to the YouTube video essays, and I'm saying why I left the online left. Everyone in the stream was mean to me. I'm not even reading that. I'm not reading that. Behave. Yeah, and I painted Warhammer once, and yes. I don't care about those. I don't care about those peanut bars from the UK. I don't care. I can't eat them. They're horrible. They have peanuts in. I don't want that. I don't want to talk about that. It makes me sick. It's actually inappropriate that you're even fucking mentioning that to me. I literally have men's mental health as well. Anyway, the ruthless exposure of the private lives of public figure drives far too much talent away from government service. The public arena and the shallow and petty assaults against those who dare to do something other than enrich themselves has become so unforgiving that the Republic is left with a significant roster of ineffectual, empty vessels whose ambition one would forgive if there were any genuine belief. You know what? They're making a point here. They're making a point here that is worth talking about, because politicians are empty and hollow because they don't lift their head above the parapet on any significant issue. They don't lift their head up on Palestine, and the reason that they do not lift their head up on Palestine is because all they are actually concerned with is enriching themselves and gaining political power and not making any meaningful change in this damned world. Also, but of course, these people support that. They support Palantir and AI tech being used to go through and troll your social media. The caution in public life that we unwittingly encourage is corrosive. Those who say nothing wrong often say nothing much at all. This is written like a fucking sign you'd see in someone who likes someone with a trashy Holmes house. And yeah, I'm ultra straight, but that's why I'm allergic to nuts. I'm not actually allergic to all nuts. Hazelnuts, I love. I love many things. Anyway, the pervasive intolerance of religious belief in certain circles must be resisted. The elite's intolerance of religious belief is perhaps one of the most telling signs that its political project constitutes a less open intellectual movement than many within it would claim. The President of the United States regularly claims to be Jesus even though he's not religious. What on earth are you talking about? Genuinely, what on earth is this statement? Boy had a good tweet about this. Oh wow, Israel's also striking Lebanon. I used to think it was the worst thing in the world when every single corporation started talking like a 23-year-old millennial woman. It turns out it's much, much worse when they talk like 13-year-old boys. Makes me miss 2015 Raytheon. Oh, 2015, when it felt like I was at brunch with girl boss Raytheon. That's a good tweet. I like that. Oh my god, the thing is going crazy right now. My word. I'm 14 and this is very deep. Yes, it's certainly profound. Oh. Sorry, chat. I'm suffering from nasal issues. You know how it gets. Yes, exactly. It's like real eyes realize real lies. And also, it's kind of like the thing of going, I've forgotten what I was about to say, but it was very funny, trust me. Also, we're almost at 2.1k members over on 2.1k followers over on Twitch. So thank you for that. That's exciting. What are your thoughts on Sade? I like Smooth Operator, and Your Love is King. I like that. I like that a lot. Coriander, thank you for becoming a member, no, a Twitch follower. Thanks for following over on Twitch. Anyway, some cultures have produced vital advances. Others remain dysfunctional and regressive. All cultures are now equal. Criticism and value judgments are forbidden. Yet this new dogma glosses over the fact that certain cultures, and indeed subcultures, ... ellipsis, have produced wonders. Others have proven middling, and worse, regressive and harmful. Brilliant, thanks for that. We must resist the shallow temptation of a vacant and hollow pluralism. We in America are more broadly the West have for the past century resisted defining national cultures in the name of inclusion, in the name of inclusivity. But inclusion into what? What does this even mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Go on, Palantir, define what the West is then. I would love to hear that one from you. I'd love to hear what the West is that doesn't rely on basically saying, well, we're not the East and using the East as your launching point.
They recognize.
I mean, this is a someone saying, right, we're done with the Palantir stuff. Thank God, my eyes are literally hurting from reading that slop. My eyes have seen the glory of the sacred wonderkind. Let's listen to this. This is apparently retired CIA analyst on the Judge Nap Freedom podcast. So this is my #1 source in the world.
They've got some problems and got to try to deal with it. And then there was a report out that they had an emergency meeting Saturday night. And apparently, well, one report coming out of that meeting at the White House is that Trump wanted to use the nuclear codes. And General Dan Kane stood up and said no. He invoked his privilege as the head of the military, so to speak. It was apparently quite a blow up. There are pictures of Kane coming out of that meeting with his head down to the ground. So, you know, there's some very, very bizarre things going on in D.C.
Well, on Saturday night,
this is one of the worst screen recordings I have ever seen. I can't find any photos of Dan Kane leaving the... I'll check Twitter, but I haven't seen any photos of Dan Kane being upset. Dan Kane is a lackey. He tells Trump no, and then Trump just does shit anyway. Hello, Henry. Good to see you. Why is his background moving so fast? This is one of the worst recordings. This person's on T-Mobile, so good for them. And they're on 96% charge. Well done for keeping your phone charged, sir. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. Don't disrespect the judge, Chris. I won't stand for that. I don't know who the judge is, I'm afraid. I don't know. I have no idea. Oh, please don't say that Tacoma Wet thing. Don't talk about that, man. Vouch is a weird character. I don't know how so many of you, elevated... Well, so many of us, as in leftists, elevated people like Vorsh, who's talking about short stack goblins to the internet. How did you elevate him? How did he become your heroes? How did a man like that become your hero? A man who does weird things with horses and stuff. I don't know if he did anything with a horse, but you know, that kind of thing. It's not good. It's not just, and it's not moral.
About me.
But yeah, I don't know. I doubt that Trump tried to use the nuclear codes. Maybe. I never watched this guy. As a leftist, I never watched him. He had weird vibes. He's still quite popular, isn't he, no? Bro, short stack goblin is insane work. Is that true? Did he actually say that, or have I just made that up? You should be elevating real leftist patriots like that opinionated girl instead of Vaush. Is it Vaush or Vaush? Which one? By the way, Zara Sultana has just been removed from the House of Commons for calling Keir Starmer a liar.
He defended him, and now he claims to know nothing. He is gaslighting the nation. So let's call this out for what it is. The Prime Minister is a barefaced liar, and if he had any decency left...
No, order. Sit and leave. Leave now. I'll name you otherwise. I'd go now if I were you. Leave. I'm not... Leave. I've no name. I've given the option to leave. I'd leave if I...
By the way, this guy is a prick. This guy is he went to Israel on a trip. He's not, and he also doesn't even have an exciting voice.
Quickly.
Leave now. Sit and leave.
Move before I read it and give me one option. Right, give me that. You have no duties. It's my duty to carry out and control this house. One chance. Do you want to leave now or not?
Right.
I name Zara Sultana. Minister, I beg to move that the said...
I got a message saying he's suing the Atlantic for calling him a drunkard. I mean, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. Don't want to get sued by Kash Patel.
Member be suspended from the House.
Mr. Speaker, call Jane Kitchen.
Jane Kitchener.
I beg to move that Zara Sultana be suspended from the service of the House.
The question is that Zara Sultana be named and leave this house. All those in favour? Aye. Leave.
Leave. No. I mean, it's pretty obvious Keir Starmer's lying. All this, Jeffrey Epstein's ghost. Jeffrey Epstein is haunting the UK right now. This man must be smiling up from Doon Stairs. He must be smiling up from Doon Stairs. No doubt he is, like, laughing away. He's just had a war launched and he's seeing himself in Lego Iran videos. I bet he never pictured that in his lifetime.
I'm sorry you've done this. I really am. Right. Come on, Remy.
I mean, it's so obvious that Keir Starmer is lying. Is Keir Starmer being... I think they should all get to, like, throw tomatoes and plums at him or something for lying. I'm just stretching my back out. Ooh, yeah. I mean, yeah, this is just unbelievable. He's obviously lying. He addressed Parliament for 15 minutes. And here's Diane Abbott, so we'll watch this and then we'll go back to some serious news or something, I don't know.
The Prime Minister has gone on at considerable length about process and procedure, but ordinary people don't really care about process and procedure. They want transparency and they want to know that they can have confidence in the words of elected politicians, like all of us in this chamber. On the question of Peter Mandelson, it was in the 90s that Peter Mandelson had to resign from the cabinet for the first time because of his dealings with the millionaire Geoffrey Robinson. It was a few years later he had to resign from the cabinet for the second time because of his relationships with the billionaire Hinduja family. Peter Mandelson has a history.
It is just incredible, by the way. This guy was just mates with, like, everyone in British politics. Why you would bring this guy in is insane. And yeah, I think you should be able to throw tomatoes. But they should make Peter Mandelson Prime Minister. I think they should just make Peter Mandelson PM so he can fulfill Jeffrey Epstein's wishes of doing whatever Jeffrey Epstein would have wanted, which is largely incoherent babble, but it would be certainly intriguing.
history. And what this House wants to know is why, knowing Peter Mandelson's history, going back now 30 years, and given what has been known, it's one thing to say, as he insists on saying, nobody told me. Nobody told me anything. Nobody told me. The question is, why didn't the Prime Minister ask?
I didn't know that he didn't like him personally. I don't know what's going on. Peter Mandelson is just such a character. I don't know. His defense of going, I'm gay, and the fact he kept getting interviews, like, to defend himself. The fact he ran a podcast and, like, imagine just, like, one day me and Isaac run a podcast together, and Isaac or I or myself have been accused of having, like, a long-term relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, and we just never mention it on our podcast, or if we do, it's like a softball, and it's not like a long-term topic of conversation. It's unbelievable. The mind truly boggles, like, thinking about any of this. Like, the fact that this is just the reality, and he was constantly given softball interviews in the British media. He was best friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and they knew that. Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Speaker, in relation to her question, let me be clear. I should not have appointed Peter Mandelson.
I like how Lammy just sits there, like, nodding.
As soon as the further revelations came to light, I asked the Cabinet Secretary to review the process so I could be assured about the process. He wrote to me on the 16th of September, setting out the conclusions of that review and assuring me the process had been followed properly.
Wow, how beautiful, how beautiful. Yeah, no politic where Isaac and I do not discuss either of our links to financier Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, Lammy is such a prick, just sitting there nodding. Epstein himself would have had a podcast right now if he were alive. What do you think it would be called? Diary of a CEO 2? Diary of a New York financier. Okay, right, let's do a bit of discussion of news. Okay, so if you haven't seen, I mean, after we kind of talked earlier about a soldier, this is Bint Jbeil in Lebanon. Now, I was actually wondering, and I don't know if anyone has tracked or mentioned this, and lots of people would just be like, oh, this is actually a result of the Dahir doctrine. But the thing is I don't think that's true. Siege of Jenin. And you want to hear my best impression of Keir Starmer? It is absolutely outrageous that Peter Mandelson has been appointed. I liked his vibe and style. Island Talks is a brilliant name for Jeffrey Epstein's podcast. Brilliant idea. Because the Battle of Jenin, that's what central Jenin looked like after the Battle of Jenin. It was just totally razed to the ground. The level of destruction was fucking insane. And that was 2002. But then I thought back to the Siege of Beirut, and then I thought, like, all of these other examples. I don't know when this became concrete policy, but it is certainly the last thing that Israel has and all it does. No. Just this. This is Bint Jbeil in southern Lebanon, the town of 30,000 people. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. I'm going to restart this video, but that was such a funny comment. Desert Island Dicks as Jeffrey Epstein's podcast. Genius, truly. Yeah, by the way, this is obviously about, you know, making southern Lebanon uninhabitable. By the way, I'll quickly pause this. I wasn't going to. Magnificent piece in the London Review of Books by Eyal Weitzman that I have yet to finish, but just the start was so interesting. I literally only had a chance to read the start because I had to prep for the stream, so I was like, oh shit, I'll do a TikTok. He mentions here, like, about how when you destroy buildings, He starts off by mentioning like the fourth and fifth concerned with interrupting biological continuity of a group. The third prohibition, framed in Article 2 of the Genocide Convention, forbids deliberately inflicting on the group conditions of life calculated to bring about its physical destruction in whole or in part. This refers to indirect forms of killing. Now just read this bit. Just read this. The bulldozers turned the agriculturally rich land of eastern Gaza into a monochrome desert of crushed grey cement mixed with the area's yellowish soil. Entire cities such as Rafah, towns such as Beit Hanun, and refugee camps such as Jabalia were erased. When buildings are bombed or bulldozed, their remains, plastics, wiring, solvents, insulation, asbestos, release toxic chemicals into the soil. Some bombs penetrate the ground before exploding and release heavy metals or metalloids such as uranium, lead, and arsenic deep underground. Many of these substances are slow to decay and will affect the soil composition for decades. A lived-in landscape had been turned into what a former general, Giora Island, described as a place where no human being can exist. And I know, by the way, like, this is what I mean about when people say, well, there's a genocide, and that's it, and they continue to justify the actions, that they talk about what Israel is doing. But I think it's more than salting the earth, is it not? This is poisoning the earth forever, and that's all the Israelis do. They engage in biological warfare. But at what point did this just become the only thing that the Israelis knew? Because the hard truth is the Israelis do this because they value the life of a Jewish soldier above any Palestinian, be that a civilian, a child, a baby. Israelis value every single, even an Israeli soldier who signed up to serve in the Israeli military, not a conscript. They view their lives as far more important than any Palestinian, regardless of if they're just living in their home or any Lebanese person, unless they're a Christian and they might cause a diplomatic incident. I just cannot believe that this is real, that this is just what Israel does. I mean, let's be frank here. The other point is when the other key point about this is this not how Israel was begun? Was Israel not begun through wiping out massive amounts of Palestinian villages and towns and erasing them from the historical record, or attempting to? This is insane. This is fucking insane. And I've watched it time and time again. And people continually justify it. By the way, Lonabox said that Israel has to do this because every house might be booby-trapped. That is unbelievable. That is unbelievable that you would sit there and justify this. Lonabox is from this country. Lonabox is from this country. And this is what is happening because there is this Jewish settler colony instituted in the neighborhood. The King Crane Commission from 1919. If you ever want to look into one of the most insane documents around Palestine, this was done by two American academics. There's loads of crazy shit in here. Like, most Palestinians, by the way, say that they want to be part of, like, a greater Syria, basically, and that they'd prefer to be ruled by America rather than the British. But the other key point here is this document basically says that in order to build a Jewish state in the Middle East, it will always have to be highly, highly, highly militarized. That's like the core of what the Zionist project is. The core and the crux of the Zionist project would have always required militarism because it is so, on a religious level, although I don't think this is the major issue, it is so difficult to swallow that Jerusalem and like many religious sites that are of all faiths, the three Abrahamic faiths, just get to be under the control of a Jewish settler colony that moved there that literally just believes in Jewish supremacism. And they were like, yep, in order to establish this state, it'll be militarized forever. And I think, how is anyone okay with this? Because they rationalize to themselves and they tell themselves that this is normal, that this is like okay, that Israel are just trying to defend themselves, that actually, you know, we should place some responsibility or actually the majority of responsibility on Hamas and Hezbollah, the Houthis or whoever, because resistance and not just capitulating and thinking that the only thing that you can ever possess in life is just living under the thumb of someone more powerful than you who has a right to do whatever they want to you. Because that's what they believe. They believe that that is all we're destined for. And should you dare to lift your head up and try and enact change, you deserve suffering, unlimited suffering. And also, the Apple Maps thing isn't true. The Apple Maps thing isn't true. You can go look. In fact, when I looked earlier, it actually looks like more of southern Lebanon has been mapped than previously. Oh. Also, did any of you see the tweet that was basically like this guy called Jewish Warrior 13 who was like, we settled the score with the house in Bint Jbeil where four Israeli soldiers were killed. Okay, 1 second, I will. If the only thing is if my Discord works. Sometimes when I've closed it, it's a bit of a nuisance, but I'll try and pop it on in a second. Thank you for the $5 gifted, and Lemon Mint Cat, thank you for being here. It's just incredible. This imagery is just truly unbelievable. Hold on 1 second, lads. Yes. So it's categorically true that what's going on in Lebanon is it's categorically true that what's going on in Lebanon that it's not mapped on Apple Maps, but that's just because Apple has shit coverage. It's not specifically because of some slight, or it's not been done recently rather. And we'll throw that on in a second. Hold on, let me just pull this up. Fuck me. Please, don't dare ever send me shit like this again. Israelis really are nice and peaceful. They hate Netanyahu and the wars. Don't send me stuff like this. I wanted to take my kids on a trip to Israel because I'm so pro-Palestine that I needed to film Israel and show you guys that it's not an apartheid state. This video is fake. Can you see the subs? Yeah, you can.
ומרגיש ממש כולם מאוד מצד אחד מברכים על השקט וגם קצת מבולבלים ומצד שני מאוד מאוד מאוכזבים. שום דבר לא הושג. פשוט נשארנו באותו מקום שהיינו, לא להגיד לפני המערכה הנוכחית, לפני השביעי לעשירי. אנחנו באותה נקודה כל הזמן.
I think it's as you say, the ceasefire, and probably will proceed it within, I don't know, the next couple of months.
By the way, it's already pretty evident that this ceasefire is not going to go the same way. Don't worry, I'm not turning this off. The other key point is 2 Israeli reservists have been killed in Lebanon by an explosion today. So this is, his name is Lidor Porat, was killed in an engineering vehicle that fell on a bomb or went over a bomb in Lebanon. And 2 of them were killed. There was another in serious condition yesterday, but he's dead.
weeks, nobody knows. Hopefully the next time we'll continue to move forward, and eventually peace will come to this area. I don't know when, but it will come.
I think definitely my favorite thing about the pro-Israel worldview is that if they just kill a couple more people, they are gonna eventually reach a peaceful end in a wonderful society. It's like when Ethan posted, you know how Ethan, like by the way, do you guys think on the 1-year anniversary of the content nuke, when that's probably been and gone, actually that's definitely been and gone, I should watch the content nuke and do like some kind of a stream for it, like a 5-hour content nuke stream. But yeah, what was I gonna say? Sorry, let me just move my leg. What was I gonna say? The end goal is always peace. But the thing is like, Ethan in his content nuke did like a celebration of like, Israelis have got really good at killing Palestinian, like militant leaders. They got really good at killing Palestinian leaders. And it's kind of like, Ethan claims he wants peace. Israel killing even the leaders of Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, the PLO, the PFLP, everyone, after the one after the other, has never brought peace, has never ever brought it for Jewish people. Surely you must realize, if anything, it has spawned more and more violent and sophisticated groups that resist against Israel. Over and over again. Who knows what will come out of Gaza? Because Israel's plan for mass ethnic cleansing, I'm going to be honest, I think a lot of Palestinians are going to stay there, and Israel's going to be caught with a population that is even more restless, with even less to lose, and that may amount to something that is even more complex for Israel to deal with. Perhaps they'll be like, well, the tunnel system is destroyed. Well, the buildings don't stand anymore. But who knows? Who knows? What are they going to do? Just enclose Palestinians into smaller and smaller areas? Who knows whether they'll move? Who knows what's going to happen? Israel isn't even... I don't even know. I don't even know how to... I don't even know how to describe Israel. Israel is just like any right-winger whose project does not bring the realization of the future that is always promised by that future, of their lives getting better, but they still keep supporting that project because they get to watch it punish people who are portrayed as the obstacle to the realization of the nice future. It's like Trump's current administration. Trump has done nothing that he's promised. He's done nothing to improve the lives of people, and yet people love him because he punishes immigrants and he punishes the evil Palestinians and the evil Iranians. And when am I going to make a cryptocurrency? Yeah, never. Never. Unfortunately, you won't be getting your groceries in Chriscoin. Unfortunately, I don't understand what a cryptocurrency is, so I won't be making one. Their deterrent strategy has always been the exact opposite effect. Exactly. And as well, because there are so many unaddressed questions of the Israeli, from the Israeli state. By the way, the egg lady has been getting cooked like no tomorrow over on Twitter. She posted, Hassan Piker hates progressive women in power and uses cryptic wording like this to discredit them to his rabidly misogynistic audience. And then this person said, remember when a woman and multiple witnesses attested that she was imprisoned, assaulted, and humiliated by the Israelis, and you tried to cast doubt on it in reference to this moronic tweet from Guam. Cook the egg, indeed. Kunzbucks are I don't know. We're gonna have to find a currency for the constituents. US dollar hegemony will end. Right. Okay, let's go back to the Lebanon news. So aside from Hezbollah managing to kill some poor secretaries in the IOF, which is just awful news, Israel is apparently... this is the problem with planning a stream where you rely on using Twitter links to things. Unfortunately, Twitter just isn't working right now. So what am I going to do? Oh, for fuck's sake. Twitter isn't working. Okay. Oh, you're fucking kidding me. What am I to do? What is to be done? What is to be done? I guess I'm going to have to look at... I'm going to have to watch a YouTube video. Hold on. Does that mean gaming stream? Unfortunately not, because I've got to talk to Isaac after this, so I haven't got time to game. What was I going to search? Israel, Lebanon, ceasefire? No. We're going to look at the US-Iran negotiations. So we're going to have to watch an Al Jazeera video because they took away my Twitter. Twitter's just been a bit
The head of the National Security Committee of the Iranian Parliament, Ibrahim Azizi, has told Al Jazeera that Iran is continuing negotiations, but has warned that it has set firm red lines. But we're going to discuss all of these latest developments with our guest now.
Bro, I don't watch movies. I don't watch movies unless I'm with my lady. I don't really watch them much.
In Tehran, we have Mohammed Islami, Research Fellow in Middle East and North African Studies at Tehran University. And joining us from London is Ali Geranmayer, Senior Policy Fellow at the European Council on Foreign Relations. Thanks so much, both of you, for joining us here on Al Jazeera. Mohammed, if I can start with you. You're in Tehran. Can you just give us an assessment of the chance that these talks could go ahead? Because as we heard, the Foreign Ministry did leave the door open for the possibility that there could be a diplomatic solution in the near future.
By the way, the point that I don't get, the stuff that I really don't get about all of this, the part that I really struggle with is how they reconcile the two positions. I think Trump is insane and wants way too much that he's not going to get. But one day, by the way, the gaming stream will come. I was thinking about doing it Sunday, but I felt shit this weekend, I'm not going to lie.
First of all, thank you so much for having me. I should say that there, in Tehran, the Iranian government and the Iranian...
I know, that Canadian boy will not stop bothering me.
...negotiators are receiving complex messages from Trump administration and Trump team because after the Trump team accepted the 10-point proposal by the Iranians, when they came to Islamabad, their position it was totally different with their previous messages via the Pakistani mediators. And after that, when Foreign Minister Dr. Araghchi offered them off-ramp in order to go out of this crisis by stating that the Strait of Hormuz is open for every vessels. After that, the Trump administration and Trump himself, President Trump himself, sent so many negative messages to Tehran, and lots of what he tweeted was wrong, considering the facts in the negotiating table. And after that,
I mean, this, by the way, this was the insane thing. I mean, on Friday, I had a stream titled Strait of Hormuz Open because it really looked like the Strait of Hormuz was open. And now the Strait of Hormuz just is not open at all.
You're kind of put...
Sorry, I'm just listening to I'm listening to an old ContraPoints video about how she's talking about Islam being backwards. Wonderful stuff to hear about.
By attacking the cargo ships of the Iranians, right now the situation is very complicated. You should keep in mind that the negotiations is a multi-dimensional negotiations. It is a very hard job to think about the solutions, considering the fact that there are so many points, topics, for example, the nuclear issues, the security issues, the financial instruments for both sides to think about some kind of solutions. So in Tehran,
well, I think because some people are saying, well, is it fragmentation amongst the upper brass of the Islamic Republic? And you know what? Right now, maybe that is the case. Maybe there is some truth to what these people are saying, that there is fragmentation, that some parts of the Iranian government are really, really, really like, no, fuck this ceasefire, fuck all of that, don't do anything with them. But also, simultaneously, maybe Araghchi did in good faith say, the Strait of Hormuz is open, and then because the Americans refused to end the blockade, were like, no, fuck you, it's closed again, because the Americans, you would think, would be like, right, we'll open it if you open it. But of course, it seems that Trump is willing to risk everything and anything to get this, you know, this really maximalist advance that's just not going to work.
The policymakings, persons, they are thinking about if it is true by the Americans, if they want a negotiation or not.
Right, yeah. As we've heard, the gaps have not narrowed since the last round of talks. Ellie, there are reports, as we heard from our White House correspondent, Kimberly Halkett, that the Pakistan Army chief has actually spoken to Donald Trump, saying the US naval blockade is the main hurdle here to talks even starting. If Trump...
I mean, it is just insane. They maintain a blockade. Israel still carries out bombardments. America just removed Lebanon from the ceasefire initially. How does this set up, like, good faith negotiations, if you know what I mean? Oh, what is going on here? Why is this difficult to open? Oh, yeah. That's a good open. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And I just got water on my legs.
If Trump was to actually lift that, would it be enough to get Iran to the negotiating table?
I think so, because if you look back, things were progressing on a quite relatively positive trajectory up till Friday, when President Trump announced that the blockade would remain on Iran, and then has subsequently gone on to impose that for the first time against an Iranian cargo vessel. And so if you want the conditions to have...
I also, you mentioned Hutch. I saw a video of this guy earlier saying that Kanye West has done more for the Palestine movement than most left-wing activists, and it's like, what are you talking about? Also, I hadn't considered this information. I'm just getting this in from one of my correspondents on the ground. Hormuz was too tight, so Iran plugged it back up after Trump oiled it and opened it for the whole world to witness. That's something I've heard. I don't know if that's true.
A political negotiation amidst a ceasefire on which the time is ticking, the US is going to need to take a de-escalatory step. Iran took that step on its side after the Lebanon ceasefire was announced by saying that the Strait of Hormuz from its side was going to have more freedom of navigation. The US essentially responded by doubling down on maximum pressure, and that's a recipe for blockage now.
Yeah, Mohammed, we know that the Iranian Foreign Ministry said that Iran has clearly stated its demands and won't change them.
By the way, this is the video of Hutch that he's talking about.
I mean, yeah, Kanye. That's another thing. Kanye West, I think, single-handedly contributed more.
I don't know what this music is.
To like anti-Israel sentiment. Then,
of course, Kanye West didn't contribute to anti-Israel sentiment more than the entire left. By the way, all of these people, like, I look at it and I look at my TikTok following. For someone who's talked purely about Palestine, predominantly from like an academic, without posting like alarmist and like lies and spreading shit because I could. You know, I had an impact. A lot of people watched me. A lot of people learned stuff. But obviously, I'm not Kanye West, but he's not fomented anti-Israel sentiment. He's fomented anti-Semitism because he's anti-Semitic. Like, there are plenty of people who collectively, like left-wingers, who've had major impacts. I'm not saying I had as much impact as him, but there are plenty of people on Instagram who have done that kind of stuff. And, by the way, this is what I wanted to show. 14% of Lebanon's territory has been gobbled up and 70 villages in it destroyed, making it different from the zone taken in 1978. This is Israel's new strategy, by the way. Kanye West does sometimes talk about Israel. Do you not remember when he had the Netanyahu puppet?
But surely this is a negotiation and it has to compromise at some point.
As I told you, all the persons. I mean, not only the Iranian negotiators, but also a team. But they were on a short notice to attend the talks. But after the Americans attacked the cargo ships in the Oman Sea, The situation is much more complicated. As far as I know, today there is a very, very, serious debate in Tehran if the Iranians will want to attend the talks or not. It is not clear right now in Tehran.
Ellie, Iran has said it's going to respond to that US naval.
Okay, it seems Twitter is working again. By the way, Israel has now reinstalled Israel has now made the soldier reinstall the image of Christ and bow down to it, which is insane. I feel like Israel is only doing this because they view young Christians as the only constituency propagandize into supporting Israel. Don't pin that. Don't pin that. That's important news. Sorry, I'm just putting that in. I'm just putting a tweet out. Just putting a tweet out, guys. Also, by the way, there's like 400 of you watching altogether. It's crazy. Thanks for the 100 over on Twitch. Thanks for everyone supporting and watching.
Attack on its cargo ship. What?
So it looks like we can get back to what I wanted to talk about, which is more Lebanon stuff, which is Israel is now deploying... So anyway, Israel is deploying its yellow line model it premiered in Gaza, now in Lebanon. It will maintain control over 55 towns in South Lebanon and demolish many of them. Demolitions have continued at a rapid pace in the days after the ceasefire of Lebanon. People are more concerned about Apple Maps, it feels like, than Israel actually doing this. Israel just erasing this.
I love burgers and living in Israel.
Hey, Silent Scythe, thank you for the 5 gifted over on Twitch. That's incredibly kind. Thank you as always for being here. Everyone who got a gifted, enjoy the sub-only emotes. I think there's a couple if they've been approved. And some of you are asking for certain emotes. I'm trying to get them approved. Yeah, I was joking about it being pinned. I'm not that upset. But yeah, it's just crazy that Israel is going to arrest all of these towns. And yes, people are pointing out that there is a gas field right next to it, which I am. Yes, here we go. Dropsite, of course, reported this, doing good reporting. Map the IOF's newly declared forward defense zone in South Lebanon. Its maritime boundary fully absorbs Lebanon's Qana gas field, whose exploration rights were explicitly guaranteed under the 2022 US brokered maritime border agreement. More maps in the thread. So, approximately 70 Lebanese villages, more than 55 villages reported by Israeli media. Among those known to still be inhabited, the Christian villages of Ramesh, Debel, and Ain Abel, and the Sunni town of Sheba. Crazy. It's just crazy that this is a thing. 98% of documented white phosphorus use attacks in southern Lebanon fall within the IOF-declared forward defense zone. The zone Israel now claims as a military buffer is the same territory it systemically struck with the munition. The IOF's 2026 forward defense zone mapped against the 1985 security zone. In 1985, Israel recruited Christian and Druze communities to administer the occupied territory through southern Lebanon. No administration is needed in 2026 as the strategy is completely the zone's depopulation. This is the thing, by the way. No doubt, Israel will have displaced huge amounts of people. The main problem remains how Hezbollah responds to that and how Hezbollah innovates and whether Hezbollah can come up with strategies to target Israeli occupation forces hidden behind these lines. It's actually insane, though, that this is just the reality, that Israel is able to take southern Lebanon's gas field, most likely, like they took Gaza's. But just have a look. This is it. Ahmed Baidoun says Israel's, so that's just it, Qana straddles Lebanon's maritime border and was once estimated to hold up to 100 billion cubic meters of natural gas, enough to rival major fields that helped make Israel energy self-sufficient and an exporter and generate $20 to $40 billion. Also, something to note here is Israel is taking part of the Litani River. Lebanon, in an increasingly arid region, a very dry region, will be having access to one of the most important aquifers in this area of the Middle East North Africa region. Israel will no doubt redirect the Litani River and steal water. No doubt it will do this because it's Israel. Just absolutely no doubt that this is what Israel will get up to. Total Energies... Oh, wait. It lies in the same geological basin as Israel's Tamar and Leviathan fields, which have generated billions in revenue. The 22-22 deal had granted Lebanon exclusive rights to Qana, despite the two countries being at war. Is Qana... I assume it's pronounced like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm pronouncing it wrong. Lemon, or one of my Lebanese or Arabic viewers, am I pronouncing Qana right? And the US and EU pretend there's nothing wrong with what Israel is doing. Yeah, or that it's just condemnation and that you just need to talk about disarming Hezbollah and everything will be fine. You think Israel will accept that? Nope. They are going to keep... they are going to keep holding it. They are going to keep cleansing land of the indigenous people. That's all Israel will continually do. They will burn people's homes. They will destroy them because that is what Israel will forever do, because it will not be stopped by Western nations who continually odiously cling to it. Lebanon, the new Oklahoma and California. Qana. Do I condemn Jesus? What, for attacking an Israeli soldier on the eve of Holocaust Remembrance Day, causing upset for the Israelis? Of course I condemn that. That's just tough. I really struggle with that. Yep. This is one of the hardest days in my life. Israelis being called out for committing crimes against a population. It's horrible for me. Have a field day. Hezbollah does test engineering and modifications of Iranian missiles by test Iron Dome up close and personal, in Iran pays handsomely. It kind of depends what Hezbollah... It also depends on drone warfare as well, whether Hezbollah continues. I don't think Hezbollah will accept a ceasefire where they're just continually having members killed. I don't think that's something they can accept or will accept. I don't think they can. Litani is beautiful. No doubt. Southern Lebanon is very beautiful. Total Energies, Eni, and Qatar Energy were brought in to drill, but in October 2023, Lebanon's Petroleum Administration said Qana Block 9 was dry. It was the second failed offshore well after Byblos 1 in 2020. Investor interest has since faded, especially after Hezbollah-Israel hostilities escalated. But even though Lebanon's hopes of reviving its collapsed economy through offshore gas have yet to materialize, much of its offshore territory, 10 blocks across the eastern Mediterranean, remains largely unexplored. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. All of this is just horrifying and disgusting that this is the reality. And this was earlier today. This was yesterday, because yesterday was the 19th and today is 420. Al-Mayadeen's correspondent in the south. An exchange of fire took place between resistance elements and the occupation army in Deir Sarian at around 3 p.m. while the occupation soldiers were attempting to advance when they were spotted by resistance fighters. Naim Qassem said in his speech yesterday that Hezbollah was preparing a new phase for this period that would be unlike the pre-March 2nd ceasefire. I do think that this is true. That Hezbollah cannot accept, and Hezbollah cannot just have a ceasefire that was like the previous one where Lebanese people, Hezbollah members, are being killed by the Israelis and there is no response. It is not an acceptable situation for them. By the way, Trump has been on some crazy ass posting. Oh, there were also some. Wait, I'll just show you the Trump thing first. Israel never talked me into war with Iran. The results of October 7th added to my lifelong opinion that Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. Did. It took me into the Iran war. I watch and read the fake news pundits and polls in disbelief. 90% of what they say are lies and made up stories, and the polls are rigged, much as the 2020 presidential election was rigged. Just like the results in Venezuela, which the media doesn't like talking about, the results in Iran will be amazing. And if Iran's new leader, regime change, are smart, Iran can have a great and prosperous future. By the way, I think the way in which Trump was talked into this was that he was told he would make his legacy through this. I think that that's how they realised they'd get him to do it, that he could have fixed all of these bipartisan issues and finally closed the file on so many things, that could have been it. But yeah, I mean, Trump's posting has been just unbelievable. He said that there was a deal coming shortly, you know? Oh, wait. Where is this one? Oh, this is the one from yesterday that This is the one from yesterday that I really wanted to talk about. Iran decided to fire bullets yesterday in the Strait of Hormuz, a total violation of our ceasefire agreement. Many of them were aimed at a French ship and a freighter from the United Kingdom. That wasn't nice, was it? My representatives are going to Islamabad, Pakistan. They will be there tomorrow evening for negotiations. Iran recently announced that they were closing the strait, which is strange because our blockade has already closed it. They're helping us without knowing. And they are the ones that lose with the closed passage. $500 million a day. The United States loses nothing. By the way, this isn't true. And I know we were having a bit of a discussion about the potential food crisis. The Financial Times had a magnificent article in this by Adam Hania that was called The Coming Global Food Crisis. I won't show you, obviously, because Financial Times is paywalled, but it's really, really, really good. It's basically just about how the problems are basically going to manifest for Sudan, Somalia, Tanzania, Sri Lanka, Kenya, so many countries who rely way too heavily on these man-made fertilizers that are outputs of the manufacturing oil. Anyway, in fact, many ships are headed right now to the US, Texas, Louisiana, and Alaska to load up compliments of the IRGC, always wanting to be the tough guy. We're offering a very fair and unreasonable deal, and I hope they take it, because if they don't, the US is going to knock out every single power plant and every single bridge in Iran. No more Mr. Nice Guy. They'll come down fast, they'll come down easy, and if they don't take the deal, it will be my honor to do what has to be done, which should have been done to Iran by other presidents for the last 47 years. It's time for the Iran killing machine to end. President Donald J. Trump. I mean, this is just incoherent slop, but it's coming out of Donald Trump, so it's unsurprising. There was a really interesting Washington Post article as well, Wall Street Journal, excuse me, about Trump's private fears about this. No. Right, there are remotes, but they take a while to be approved. I did it today. It's called Behind Trump's Bravado, Public Bravado on the War. He grapples with his own fears. And basically, the article's just dealing about how apparently Trump was furious when the airmen went down. He thinks seeming unstable will be the way to get Iranians to negotiate. He thought about giving himself a Medal of Honor. It also affirms the fact that Trump was the one who initiated talks, not the Iranians, and that Trump is looking for a way out of all of this. So, Calcifier All hail Calcifier, enjoy your emotes and eat your damn words. And yes, I love it when he just posts he's doing war crimes. Twitch wide emotes. Oh, the piss one was approved. I thought that one wasn't going to be approved, but it is approved. Very nice. That's a Twitch only, but as I get more YouTube members, I think I can actually get more YouTube members, but I need more YouTube emotes, but I need more members currently. Can you yell the uppercase words? Yeah, I'll do that from now on. Global South, exactly. That was the thing that like Adam Tooze pointed out, because we shouldn't see this as Trump. We shouldn't see this and like be alarmist and be like America's going to run out of food. No, America and Britain will have increased food prices, no doubt. Apparently, the UK is forecasting like a 10% rise in food prices. That's huge, and that will cause problems. And we need to talk about destabilization there. But the major destabilizations are coming in places in Africa, places in Asia. These are troubling. Somalia is already suffering a major and intensifying drought. And so apparently 45 million individuals are going to already be pushed into acute hunger as a result of the war.
Welcome to the Burger Reich.
With about 2,000 of them, with about 2/3 of them, living in Africa. Michelle, thank you for the 5 gifted. I will see whether I can add a new emote now. I'm not sure, because obviously we went away and we lost some members, but I think maybe we can. Thank you so much for the gifted, as always. Thanks for supporting the channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Never an obligation though. Just commenting, watching, and telling all the youths you know about how Chris Kunzler is educating is required. Also, I need 2 followers over on Twitch, and then we hit 2,100 followers. So get that done. If you're not following and you're watching on Twitch, follow now. But yeah, basically, it's also about our over-reliance on new methods of farming and how bad monocultures are. Just monocultures are really, really bad, the way in which we farm, and it's too intensified. I don't know what's more funny, his beef with the Pope or him thinking about giving himself a Medal of Honor. I think the Medal of Honor is really, really funny. The beef with the Pope is quality. But yeah, the beef with the Pope is really, really quite something. The Medal of Honor, I don't know, it's hard to choose. It's like choosing between, I don't know, just so many things. But yeah, the youths need to know about what Chris Kunzler is saying over on YouTube. Hey, I just hit my follower goal of 2,100. Come on, boom. We bring the boom. We bring the boom. Hell yeah. Isaac, read it and weep. You might have more followers than me on Twitch, but I am now on YouTube, but I am beating you on Twitch. I am beating you on TikTok. I am beating you on No Politic Here. Everyone comes from me and the way that I act up. Beefing with a Pope is some seriously demonic shit, I say as an atheist. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like having beef with the Pope because the Pope thinks it's bad to just kill everyone is a pretty interesting one. Oh, actually, you know what? I have some stuff because I prepped yesterday and didn't stream. This is a brilliant video. I mean, it's quite sad, but it also has its certain hope element within it.
Collapsed, but it's no longer stable. Across Gaza.
I also just wanted to say, Georgia... Oh. I don't know why that's not going off. Random Vector, thank you for subscribing with Prime. For some reason, it's not gone away. It's not triggered it, but thank you so much for supporting the channel. Georgia James, Kitty Mazoff, and Jack J33, thank you for being new subscribers. And Darm Canna, I think you were the 2,100th. But thank you so much for supporting the channel with Prime over there.
Multiple houses are still standing, but structurally unsound. In the aftermath of the destruction, danger lies hidden in cracked walls, weakened columns, and ceilings that give way without warning. Civil engineer Mahmoud Ubaid is helping people assess the dangers. Because of the shortage of proper equipment, he uses basic tools.
We work to stabilize collapsing buildings until reconstruction can begin. We also create makeshift spaces for families whose homes have been critically damaged.
I don't know. I think Iranians have probably always been showing more respect for the Pope than most American presidents. Like, let's be frank here. Well, especially, I guess Donald Trump, it's just so pronounced.
Shelters are overcrowded and finding alternatives is difficult.
In some places, there is still something to save. With improvised materials, temporary supports are installed in an attempt to delay the inevitable.
We used to live here. When our neighbor's home was struck, the attack damaged ours as well. We're using beams to create a space we can shelter.
What the hell caused that? Was that just incredibly delayed? What on earth was that? What just caused that? Random vector, I think that was you. I don't know what caused that.
We'll clear this area and live here. We have no other options.
In other homes, there is little left to fix. Only warnings about where not to stand, not to sleep.
I like those guys. I like both their hats. Sorry, quickly to note, that is a fresh hat. My guy in Gaza's rocking the fresh cap. You know how it gets sometimes.
And not sleep.
I returned to my home and found it heavily damaged. I consulted the engineer, Mahmoud, who advised me to stay in the spot of the house because the rest isn't safe.
Homes are no longer whole. They are fragmented spaces, divided between what can be used and what must be abandoned. People living in this neighborhood behind me are in limbo. Reconstruction has stalled and building materials are not allowed into the strip. As more time passes, what remains standing does so at the edge of endurance. These houses no longer offer the sanctuary they were built for. Tariq Abu Azzoum, Al Jazeera, Gaza City, Palestine.
You manually repeated it. I don't know what caused it not to work, but thank you for doing that, Henry. Thank you very much. Most food production has a lot of waste, like 70 of the stuff. What did you say? We have no alternatives. We can only use monoculture to grow food because we need machinery to harvest. Yeah. But he was like, at the end of the article, he was like, it's moving towards things like crop rotation, moving things to using like more natural fertilizers. But you're right, the Green Revolution is very responsible for the population boom. And like supporting the growth of population in a lot of countries. But I think where it's plausible, you need to move towards more natural things and move away from fossil fuel derivatives, fertilizers. But I don't know, this video was just, in spite of all of the difficulties and troubles, I think it was still something with kind of a message of hope that people in Gaza are still able to lead and live their lives in some way. I did see loads of reports about rats taking over in Gaza, which is horrifying. Truly horrifying. There was one other thing I wanted to read from yesterday. So, Araghchi's tweet reflected an understanding from Tehran, likely based on what they had heard from Pakistan. So he's talking here about Araghchi's tweet that was basically saying the Strait of Hormuz was open. But anyway, if they took the positive step by reopening the Strait of Hormuz, the US would reciprocate by lifting the blockade. But Trump kept the blockade in place and through his many tweets suggested that Iran was surrendering on the nuclear issue. By the way, the thing is Iran is ready to surrender on the nuclear issue. The major fucking issue is that the US expect it in one day. They expect, I am sorry, I cannot reiterate this enough. The expectation of the Americans and the Israelis and the West is that Iran, on the first day of a negotiation, gives up on their, basically gives up on their two main points of leverage. That's what they expect. And someone pointed out that me saying, I love burgers sounds like a rooster crowing. I think you're kind of right about that. Algerian freedom fighter named Emir Abdel Khader, who has an American city named after him, El Khader, Iowa, was honored by Pope Pius, Abraham Lincoln, Napoleon, I think, and lots of other leaders because while in exile in Syria, because the French sent him there. I didn't know that. I've never heard of that. Oh, I got a big ass sneeze coming. Why would you feed cows soy? Makes them woke. Yes, and you do not want a woke cow. I know that this is one thing that I've been working my socks off to fix. But yeah, This only fed Iran's suspicion about Trump and the Islamabad, like Geneva, is that Islamabad, like Geneva, is a diplomatic ruse before another military attack. The door to diplomacy is not closed, but it has now become considerably more difficult. Deliberately or not, Trump has undermined diplomacy and raised likelihood of war. By the way, the Succession character, like vaguely based on. The Succession character vaguely based on Elon Musk, who keeps causing major fuck-ups because of tweeting, is just Trump in real life. Oh my god. Do you know one of the most hated characters I have is this Israeli journalist, Haviv Rettig Gur. Such an annoying character, and someone just portrayed him very well. If whining was an Olympic sport, this guy would be Usain Bolt. Oh my god, I gotta blow my nose. Hold on. Yes, I am muted because I needed to go get a tissue. I needed to blow my nose more. My nose is troubled today. I think I'm a little bit sick, but we move. First they trans the frogs, I did not speak, I was not a frog. Then they trans the cows, and I did not speak, for I was not a cow. Then they trans me, and there was no one left to speak. That's true. Interesting. Right. This is, yeah, right. I was talking about Haviv Rettig Gur being a little whiny baby. Oh, and apparently Iran has until the end of tonight until they have to... apparently Iran has the end of tonight until they're basically able to extend the ceasefire, according to Trump, but I feel like they might not. I don't know. What is this? Just indefinite extensions of the ceasefire? Is that all this is? Just keeping on extending the ceasefire with no end in sight? On that note, guys, I'm gonna call the stream here. Incredible that there are over 100 of you watching on Twitch and about 300 of you watching over on YouTube. Thank you so much. I've got to go call Mr. Zale of the Overzealots channel. There's going to be a stream highlight about that settler who's an odd-looking character later today. I know it's a little late and I've probably missed the boat, but there'll be a couple of other highlights. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting. As always, thanks for donations, comments, everything, likes, whatever. Thank you all. I hope you have a lovely rest of the day, and I will see you guys all soon, tomorrow. Have a lovely rest of the day. I'll be back on tomorrow. Look at, check that. You don't see this kind of stuff every day.